All right, we got Patrick in the dark. We got Bill at the bottom of his screen.
Why am I dark?
Oh, there he is. Look at that.
I have
Headspace. Nice.
every light possible on.
Really? Much better lighting now. Good to go. I typed in Monday live stream first to that email I sent you guys the link on. I'm sure I'll say Monday multiple times today.
That's all right. We running way behind on opening the show? Is that just issues?
A little bit, yeah.
Good morning.
All right, here we go.
Getting close to the intro here. I thought our poll question on Friday, I thought the weather vote was overhyped, but no, nailed it. Worst part of the weekend for sure, that nasty weather, but at least we're not freezing as a lot of other places. Welcome in. Hope your Tuesday morning's off to a good start. We're back from President's Day, and Bill, you're all nice and cozy there. You're good to go. You made it through?
Yeah, you're right. That weather, and you just had me thinking because it was storming last night.
Crazy.
It's kind of out of nowhere, but then you had me think. I think today it's not supposed to rain. There's supposed to be something I've been reading about in history books called the sun that comes out, I believe, for a few brief hours. And let's see here. I'm just kind of looking. Oh, look at this. Yes, the weather app tells me there's 0% chance of rain, and the sun will appear at some point today, but still looks like the high today of 48 or 49. So still going to be kind of chilly.
Patrick, what about you? You made it through the weekend. You are the world's best quarantiner, so I'm guessing it had zero effect on them.
I could not have cared less about the weather this weekend. I was not going to go outside. I did actually have to leave the house yesterday, though. I got my first ever massage yesterday.
I'm sorry?
Yeah,
where did this come from? Couples,
it was a
Valentine's Day massage. Is that what we had going there?
No, it was delayed. It was a Christmas gift.
Okay, and what did you think,
I haven't used for 2 months. It was nice, and then I worked last night, so it was all out the door. I don't feel any better today than I did yesterday. So. My back hurts again, so it was nice while it lasted.
Bill, what about you? I've had one in my life on my honeymoon. I believe we have touched on this before. Not a massage guy. Straight people touching me. It's kind of odd.
I've never had one. I would be willing to get one. It's not because I'd be willing to get one, but I might be at that point where I'm willing to get one, but on somebody else's dime. Like,
right.
Yeah. Because it was like I saw the price. It was $90.
I mean, I take them. I've had them. Like I remember, it was a young lady, Jen Brown, I believe, was who would come out when we were at Lawyer Lisa's doing the live remotes, and come out there occasionally. I think you and I have played in a golf tournament or two before, where there was a massage on a hole. But again, those are limited, right? They're like 5 minutes as opposed to whatever you get 30 minutes or 40 minutes.
How long was yours, Patrick?
Full hour.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, so Bill, you've never had the full length massage? Is that what you're saying?
I get the free cheapies at the golf course out there that then you give the tip or whatever. But no, I've never gone in for the full long time hour long service.
They can go up to 2 hours. They can be up to like, I think mid $200 because I don't know what the difference are. I mean, mine was just the basic, but there's deep tissue, there's Swedish. Then you can add the hot rocks, and I was looking at the table the whole time, just hoping that one of those hot rocks was going to go on my back, but I didn't pay for that.
They tease you. They brought up the hot rocks. They're like,
no, you're just in the room. Everything's in there, but you only pay for certain things. I had no idea what I had been gifted. I didn't know what was going to be a part of it. So
I'll be honest. If it was up to me, I am perfectly happy with the sauna. That was one of the reasons I signed up at the little Move Fitness here in Lexington, was for the dry and the wet sauna, which they have conveniently closed right now because of protocol issues. And I am eagerly anticipating those being opened back up. That's a far more of a relaxing big deal to me than the actual massage.
Out of all the ways we are going to start today's show, I did not see that one coming. That's part of the fun. From a football perspective, pretty quiet weekend, except for Gus Malzahn back in college football. New Central Florida coach. Bill, what'd you make of that headlining news and that fit of Malzahn in Central Florida? To me, it seems a little odd. I think it's been lauded kind of across the country as a big win for Central Florida, maybe even an upgrade at their head coach from Josh Heupel, who's now at Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like for Gus Malzahn, Central Florida is kind of a weird spot because they're becoming more and more aggressive with what they want to be in football, yet it's becoming more and more clear they'll never have a chance for a national championship or to compete in a college football playoff, right? Like that's kind of thing. But Central Florida is starting to demand more and more and more out of their college, or out of their football, out of their coaches, out of everything that comes along with it. So I'm kind of interested in this to see if they can use Gus Malzahn and keep him long enough. Can they keep him long enough to maybe parlay it into one final round of college expansion, of league expansion, and work their way into some kind of big conference? Or can the AAC work their way into the discussion for the college football playoff? This year, more than any, has showed us that you don't have a chance if you're not a Power 5, right? If you're just there, you're playing 12 exhibition games, and we'll throw you a bone and let you in a Big 6 New Year's Day game. Kudos to you, but you're not going to play for the whole ball of wax. You're not included in our college football season. You just get to be a nice little side story, and we all kind of, for about, 10 or 11 weeks, pretend like you might have a chance if 7 or 8 or 22 of the big boys falter. There's several in that boat, right? Boise State's in there. I think Houston is trying to be in there a little bit. Memphis is a school that's trying to be in there. Cincinnati certainly is the school that's going to run this year. But you don't have a chance to play for everything. So can they have a prestigious coach, and that's what I think Gus Malzahn is, somehow drag them in? Is the ACC willing at some point to expand? Is the Big 12 willing to take a school in Florida? Can the AAC find a way to fight its way through and get into and make it instead of a Power 5, a Power 6? That's what kind of intrigues me about the situation.
I thought you were going to take that to more of a college football playoff expansion, not a conference expansion.
That's how you see it?
Yeah, because it's far more likely for them to just double the size and make it 8 teams, and because people are already calling for that. And I don't know, does it involve this contract or whatever the current deal is with the college football playoff?
That's through 2024, 2025. So
yeah. So don't you kind of expect in 2025, whenever that ends, it'll be bigger?
I've thought that, but it feels like there's people, it just feels like reading some of the articles that are dead set on that. Now, that's for, as you pointed out, that's 3-4 years from now. And that also, I think, is more with this committee they have, which can change. So, yeah, that's very possible as well that it expands. And that's what's going to be interesting to see, I think, over the next 3 years, the evolution of college football. This is the decade, I think, where college football really evolves into the sport that we see for the next 40 or 50. Does that make sense? Whether it's an expansion of the playoff or whether it's a division where it's a break from what we currently have to two separate divisions for college football.
Because I was thinking more along the lines of maybe Gus Malzahn makes this team so strong that couple back-to-back undefeated seasons and being left out, and they really just create a lot of turmoil and chaos for the committee, and they force them to expand in a couple years because you can't keep leaving UCF out of these playoffs if they keep going undefeated. I mean, at least for the next 2 years, they should be in pretty good shape. They got a really good quarterback in Dylan Gabriel that I think was only a sophomore this year and went for over 3,500 yards, over 30 touchdowns. He's a stud. So I mean, that offense should be pretty potent right away.
I think in terms of, again, and then you just look at the program again. That's a program that's starting to expect more, but I don't feel like you can come from what
It's a pressure cooker, man.
Well, yeah, I saw that, but I guess my point on that is like, man, you're at Auburn where you go 9-3 and beat Alabama, you're still on the hot seat. Like, you know, I don't know how many more jobs have incredible, like unrealistic expectations. Even Texas, to an extent, with their expectations, sometimes is patient enough because they haven't won a championship. And
that's why that video. Did you see the video? Or did you just see the quote? Because I have the video. We might be worth playing on it. It was the most unbelievable question I've ever heard asked in a press conference.
On the pressure cooker?
Yeah, he said, I mean, I don't know if do you know what you're walking into here with the pressure cooker that is UCF football or something along those lines? This one I was like, yeah, I think I know. I think I know a little bit about
I've been there.
Yeah.
Not quite that hyped up. Actually, know the guy who asked that question. Used to work down in Charleston, but he started it with, obviously you've been around some big-time fans and a situation where there are expectations, but there are some here as well. Do you know where you're getting into? He actually went to Tennessee. Darren Stoltzfus is the TV guy who asked that question. So I think that was kind of his point, is that he was surprised at how Central Florida, a lot of fans wanted Josh Heupel out of there because he hadn't reached the expectations that Scott Frost has drawn up. But yeah, that was an interesting plot twist there in Gus Malzahn's introductory press conference. I'll give you my take on the situation as we continue to roll on this morning. Wanted to say morning to KT, Carlton, Lee, all up early with us on the live stream. We're rolling all over the place. Facebook, YouTube, we got it up on Twitter on the station account at 1075 The Game. Jen's up and perky, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed coming off the late night of Daytona. Have you recovered from the Daytona 500, Jen?
Yeah. Boy, it was good.
Whoa.
See, I'm telling you.
Are you sure?
She has the voice quite not
I have not heard from Jen in 3 days. My goodness. You are the definition of how to spend President's Day. You must have partied like a mad person.
I'm telling you what, and I got starting fluid for a Valentine's gift, so, it's like.
We're off to some kind of start this morning. Chris hits us up on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. I got a good feeling Gamecock Larry is raring to go this morning, and he is. We will get to him and plenty more. Love Chevrolet phone lines up and rolling, 803-404-6100. That same number, the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. I'm guessing maybe Gamecock basketball on tap there. And if you have not heard, there is no Gamecock basketball tonight. Tonight's game against Tennessee has been pushed to tomorrow, and it was a rough Saturday against Ole Miss. We'll try to put it in perspective for you as we continue to roll on this morning. Just getting started. We'll all try to stay warm together. It's the early game. It's 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game. The game is on the air, online.
And the ball, tremendous. Josh Jackson is addicted.
Oh, sorry about that. Got some UCF audio in on the street. That was annoying a bit.
Oh, was it playing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I asked my wife yesterday. I was like, "Are we supposed to have thunderstorms in February? What is the deal?"
Yeah, I was very confused about what was happening late last night. It didn't help that I was sitting on my couch watching the Alaskan Triangle, all these kind of horror things about stuff that happens in Alaska, and all of a sudden, like, the sky just lights up blue last night. I was like, I don't know if you're supposed to get that kind of weather in mid-February.
What happens in the Alaskan Triangle?
It's like the Bermuda Triangle. It's a weird event.
Yeah, but it's not like the Bermuda Triangle. It's Alaska.
according to whatever channel I was watching last night, it's just like the Bermuda Triangle. There's some kind of electric force field up there, and more planes disappear, and spooky. I don't know.
Why do triangles have such bad names? You never hear good things about triangles.
So, as I said, this is what I was thinking. So the Alaskan Triangle is over land.
Right. Yeah.
The Bermuda Triangle is over water.
Yeah, exactly. There was a theory. I get into watching some of that stuff until it's pretty easy to debunk. And it was pretty interesting last night for the first episode. But I think it's part of a whole series because it looked like they were following a bunch of different stuff. But the one on the plains was kind of interesting. I just couldn't get into basketball last night. Then I ended up watching I think it was the Islanders and I got in bed. I was watching Buffalo and New York in hockey.
Hey, Bill, can you do Crowder at the end of this break? We'll try to. I think I can do a 10 and a 40 this hour.
Sounds good to me, Jen. Oh, he's got a piece of paper. I think he can make it happen.
Got my part of my script.
Interesting thought.
What am I going after?
Up there.
Strategic media.
Okay.
About 2 minutes.
Bryant, we'll touch on that. UCF to the ACC, and yeah, Vincent Jackson news, awful. I hadn't seen the latest, if there is the latest on Vincent Jackson.
I didn't see any details.
Last I saw was just no foul play.
No signs of trauma. That's what I'm reading.
So we can talk about Trevor Lawrence's pro day.
I'll be happy to do that. Oh, wow. He was reported missing on Wednesday.
All right, 1 minute, Bill.
Found on Friday? Oh. And then found dead on Sunday. Huh. No, found on Monday. That's really weird.
All right, Bill, about 15 seconds.
All right, right here.
Yep. All right, fine, yeah.
Big morning, getting back on air, getting fired up to discuss sports, getting through a new week. How you hear all that? Just getting through, moving forward, continuing to develop, continuing to change. One of the things that you might be wanting to change, your current monthly mortgage payment. Right now is still a great time to refinance. Interest rates extremely low. It's your opportunity to save money. You just got to get out there and start the process. You need to give a mortgage guru a call, and I've got a mortgage guru for you. Jacob Crowder, First Palmetto Bank, is waiting to help you this morning. If you're thinking about buying a home or if you're thinking about refinancing your current mortgage loan, you don't need to wait any longer. You need to get in touch with the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, today, 803-719-1005. You can also email the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER, at firstpalmetto.com. That phone number again, 803-719-1005. That's his cell phone. You can shoot him a text message. You can give him a phone call, whatever is most convenient for you. And that's the great thing about Jacob, is being able to work with you on your schedule to help you get approved if you want to buy that new home, if you want to refinance your current home. Don't wait around. Make it happen today. 803-719-1005. He's the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, with First Palmetto Bank.
Clear.
All right. Headed back in. We'll start with basketball here. We'll get to Gamecock Larry pretty quickly.
Okay.
Matthew on Facebook Live. Good morning, my favorite radio show. Trey, good morning, y'all. Glad everyone is safe from the storm. And good morning to you guys as well. Glad to see you're up and rolling with us. Thanks for being a part of the program. Back from a day off on President's Day, trying to stay warm. It is, you guys nailed it on the poll question on Friday about the weekend and going into it with the weather thing. We're fighting it off. Bill mentioned we're going to get a little sun today, so trying to look on the sunny side of things. It's difficult to do right now with Gamecock men's basketball. Over the weekend, Ole Miss 81, Carolina 74. It was Irmo native Devontae Shuler coming in and putting up a career-high 31 points on Carolina. It was an 8-point halftime lead for Ole Miss, and they were in control of the game. I would say that 7-point final margin, not quite indicative of how Ole Miss was in control most of the way. Carolina did make a push late. It just was not enough. Bill, what do you make of what you saw over the weekend? To me, this is just kind of more of the same. And, man, a 3-game home stretch where the Gamecocks were coming off their biggest win of the season against Florida and had a chance to really turn things around and to make a push. And, unfortunately, it went the other way, and Carolina goes 0-for-3 in those 3 games at home.
Yeah, and I'm listening to Frank Martin on Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. I mean, it's just it doesn't feel like he has the answers. And what I feel, Tim, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, that he's as frustrated as the fan base is with everything. This team, I think he realizes. I don't question. Let's just be clear about this. You guys don't question the heart or intensity of this team, right? I feel like they're playing hard. It's just not clicking. You guys agree with that? Like, it's not an effort thing. It's just this isn't.
I question the energy. I don't know if I question the effort necessarily.
Yeah, it's not, for whatever reason, this team is not gelled. It's not come together. The message is not getting through to this team. I don't think this is as bad a team as the results are telling us, but also at the same time, it's just something is not there, and the chemistry doesn't appear to be there. Listening to Keyshawn Bryant on Saturday night, I think the whole unit, the whole group is just, I think they're tired. I think they've just had enough. I know the fans are. I can tell the fans are. Everybody's just fed up with it, and it's unfortunate. Now you get a game, as you mentioned, against a very good Tennessee team that'll be moved from tonight to Wednesday night. We'll play those lovely 9 a.m. tip-offs, but that's what I got is a team that's just they can't find their way, and I don't know. It doesn't. There's nothing that indicates that they're going to be able to change anything this year.
Patrick, what's your takeaway from Saturday?
They're just not a very good team. You just can't get the one game. Jermaine Couisnard maybe plays his best game of the year, and then you just get nothing from AJ Lawson for basically the first time all year. It's just you can't have several guys playing well at the same time. It's just I do question the energy of this because we talked about on Friday. I mean, they don't play good defense individually. They get blown by all the time. I don't know enough about the team defense or the X's and O's of it to really go too hard on that, but I know the guys get blown by all the time. And like we talked about, the energy level, I mean, you don't really see it from the bench. You don't really see it on the court. I don't know. I don't think their heart's really in it anymore. I think they might have checked out as much as a lot of the fans. Although at the end of the game, the way they did storm back and fouling and getting that thing closer, it was a valiant little comeback, but it was 39 minutes too late. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Help me out with the Couisnard and Lawson analysis there. I'm confused.
Just from in the scoring, just shooting the ball for the first time well all year.
That wasn't Kuznard in the game. He didn't score at all. Lawson didn't shoot the ball well. He was 6 out of 19, but he did score 22.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
And Kuznard ended up getting hurt in that ball game. Haven't got an update about his status moving forward. I don't think. To me, this was what this team has been this year. AJ Lawson was pretty good. Besides that, not enough. And just head-scratching stuff. You look at the box score, you got Wildens Levesque in there playing 18 minutes, scoring 13 points, 3 block shots, 0 rebounds. You got Justin Minaya in there doing the dirty work, getting 9 rebounds, and he scores 5 points. And another starter in Seventh Woods for the first time in a while, not in double digits, I think, with just 4 points. And Trey Hannibal got some decent minutes and did get in double-digit in points, but also had 4 turnovers, and it just wasn't enough. And this one was more the recipe that what we've seen for the last few years when it hasn't worked out well for Carolina, in that the free throw discrepancy was pretty big. Ole Miss, I didn't even realize this until I had to look at it twice on the box score, shot 34 free throws in the second half.
Yeah, how many were in the last 2 minutes?
And probably a lot. I don't have the exact stat, but Ole Miss outscores Carolina from the line by 12, and the Gamecocks lose by 7. Those comments you're talking about after the game from Frank Martin, he was, what I heard from him, specifically upset with a career high. He maybe even especially being so familiar with Devontae Shuler, having started Irmo High School before jumping to Oak Hill Academy, I think it was. But 31 points for him, and it's not the first career high the Gamecocks have given up, and that stuck out to me from Frank's post-game comments, just talking about his teams traditionally haven't done that, and he's found that as a point of pride. Guys don't get career highs on us, was kind of the sentiment that I heard after the game, and yet this year's team has been different in that way. And I heard the frustration for sure, Bill, and we've heard it from the fan base a lot this year. Let's see what Gamecock Larry has to tell us this morning, Bill, before you go on Gas Baggy Hot Take number 2 on this thing, if you don't mind. 803-404-6100 is the number. The Love Chevy phone line's up and rolling, as is our favorite 86-year-old caller, Gamecock Larry, this morning. Larry, how are you, sir?
Doing just fine. I'm right the basketball team off. I mean, just another year, just like the last couple, I guess. But gotta get ready now for baseball. Oh yeah, I gotta say something. Oh, Rudolph called me from the swamp to give last night at 12 o'clock. Talking about if the baseball team don't do good, they got a fire race happen. Rudolph, I'm getting my posse together. I'm coming after the Legion of Doom, and I'm gonna have them together at the time to talk fight. So we're going to be okay in baseball. Don't worry about that. But the basketball team, I mean, they're not playing as a team. One dribble and then a shot. No pass, no nothing. They just don't, I don't know. Another thing, I was sitting here Thursday morning, listening to you guys name your picks for the Daytona 500. I had the lineup playing ahead put on down the lineup. I checked out for Marcus McDowell. Down to him, and I just checked him out. Do you guys play that?
No, not in the least. No.
Definitely not.
I don't even think anybody knew Marcus McDowell was in the race until about 10:30 or 11 o'clock on Sunday night.
Or the fact that it's Michael McDowell, not Marcus. But
sure, him too. His cousin.
Or that Gamecock Larry makes NASCAR picks.
Yeah.
Right, who knew? I think it's pulling our leg.
I just want to let everybody know. I got my posse together. They go back to Gamecock Macon, got the Bulldog McMillan, and Mr. Ronald Park out of they helping me. And I'm coming after the Legion of Doom, and I'm coming after all of you guys who won't answer my phone call, and you won't call me back. Except, Duhall at 12:03 three last on my phone line. You don't think the old man ever sleep, Rudolph? That's about all I got to say. Go Gamecock.
Gamecock
Why-
Larry, ladies and
Why
gentlemen.
does anybody need to call him back? He just tells him what he needs to tell him on our program. Like, just
So that's why Rude Hog texted in at 5:57 saying Gamecock Larry's rearing to go this morning because he called him in
Poke
the middle of
tiger.
the night.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've also been in I've been in Gilbert a good bit. I don't think there's swamps in Gilbert. It's not what I associate with Gilbert.
This weekend there were.
No, there's swamps everywhere. Hey, Jen, how was that race? Did you see who in our group had the highest pick?
Yeah, Denny Hamlin.
Solid too. That's good.
He just gave him a wave on the live video stream.
What?
Doesn't play quite as well on
I
the
know.
radio, but
So who
at least
won,
you
Bill?
edited yourself. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Yeah. I won. I think we do 4 points for that. So four for me. I believe it was 3 for Carrie, 2 for
Right for Kira Kozlowski, and then
Steinhaus,
Sten,
and then something called a Blaney at 30th.
yeah, you know that because we all expect
Karma.
that the 14 lap mark that there would be like a 16 car pileup.
Yeah, it was crazy, wasn't it?
Wasn't Kyle Busch going to win that thing too?
Blaney was going to win.
Oh,
Blaney was going to win, and on the
Kyle
last
Busch has
lap,
never won a Daytona 500.
I guess not.
I don't think so.
I heard that in the recap, and I was shocked. I thought he was like
Yeah.
the best driver.
Last year was
Or
not a
one.
great year for him. Hopefully this is rebuilding, and he did win in the duels or the chase.
I don't know. It feels like he's been winning races for like 10
Not-
years
not the
and
duels.
never won a Daytona. It's kind of wild.
Jen, what time did that thing get over on Sunday?
It was about 12:30, 20 to 1, something like that.
The old rain struck again, but they were able to get it in. And Michael McDowell, not Marcus, is the Daytona 500 upset champ. Right? Did you know, Jen? I know you know a lot more racing than most of us. Did you know his story before this thing?
I mean, I just knew that it's with Front Row Motorsports, and I mean he's always been a contender. I don't really know a lot of backstory about him, but any driver was like, yeah, he should be here. He's always up there. Clint Boyer in the booth was saying that yeah, I totally can see him. He was in the right place at the right time, and that's not uncommon. And I don't know. Is there another story you have?
No, just the fact that he was. I've never heard the name before.
Oh, yeah.
You guys could have stuck with Marcus, and I'm like, oh, that sounds not quite right. I don't think that's what I read, but maybe. I don't know. I don't know the guy. It reminds me when Jamie McMurray won it way back in the day, right? I'd never heard of him, and then there you go, sneaking right into the biggest race ever. I guess that's what happens when you have 42 drivers or whatever it is. You probably don't know everybody. It's just odd to me that you would sneak in to the winner's circle in the sport's biggest race, but maybe that's part of the allure to the Daytona 500 as well.
And I need to look at what his what his stats are, because I think probably in the rankings he's probably better than some people think. Because like I said, you do see his name being competitive every week, just not necessarily challenging for the win. But yeah, kind of fun. Oh.
And it was Forest Acres native right there in Columbia, Jordan Anderson, with a big finish on the truck series. Is that what it was? Finishing second there. And I retweeted his interview afterwards because it was awesome. He was just thrilled. And
second year.
Yeah, second year in a row he finished his tie for second, I think is what you're saying, Jen. And just the genuineness and authentic excitement in the post-race interview. Nice thing to see in sports. We certainly don't always get with those interviews.
And what was kind of sad on that, on the other front of that, he was able to attempting to field a car for the Xfinity Series, but because of the rains, he couldn't get a chance to get in and qualify, and he doesn't have enough owner points to just automatically be in the race. So it's kind of a bummer in that respect. Like, it's such a high from the truck, and then the first time he had an Xfinity car to actually try to go for it, he didn't have a chance, but he'll have more.
Was this Clint Boyer's first time calling a race?
No.
He did it last year too?
No, that was his first 500, but no, he had been in the booth for some of the other things like the duels and the Clash the other night.
I heard
this is the first time he's starting a new season, I think, is your point, Patrick. What'd you hear about his performance?
I heard that it was good. they had a lot of time to kill, and I think Clint Boyer's. I think he's got a good sense of humor. It seems like
He's made for this.
which was
Well, that's when the announcers
good on
make their
Duck
money
Dynasty.
there on the TV broadcast, right? When the rain hits and you got time to fill. The producers off camera are going like this. Stretch. And maybe if it's your first broadcast, no problem. We'll see how much material he's got for the rest of the season, right?
He's one I think he probably can pull stuff from all orifices. Yep.
But could he do a 6-hour radio show, 3 of which are commercial free?
Great question. Great question, Patrick.
I don't know.
Not just a
Feel
radio show.
competitive.
Sir, this is a multimedia experience. We have a live video stream. I don't know if you know that as you look into your computer and give me the eyebrows raised. 803-404-6100 is the number into the show. If you would like to join, we see you on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. For some reason, David felt the need to send in spontaneous efficiency usually results in failure. Okay, I think it was pertaining to Gamecock basketball. I'm not sure. One other note from basketball over the weekend, USC women's basketball makes it 31 in a row now. SEC wins 66-59, the final score, a 7-point win over LSU on Sunday. Destiny Henderson leading the way with 19. Aaliyah Boston, another double, 12 points, 13 rebounds, 6 blocks. The Gamecocks continue to stay perfect in the SEC. Up next, they're headed to Tennessee as well. So the Gamecock men, if you hadn't heard, we were supposed to play tonight. That thing has been pushed now to Wednesday night, 9 p.m. tip. The USC women will play on Rocky Top in a top 20 matchup at 7 o'clock on Thursday night. Plenty more to come. We'll get back into football. I'm still a little confused at Gus Malzahn and UCF. I get it from the UCF standpoint. I'm more confused the other way. I'll see if you guys can help me out when we come back. You're listening to the early game here. It's 107.5 The Game.
Jen, I don't have a text. Do I have anything here?
Say what?
I didn't have a text message. I don't have anything here, do I?
You have an 8. You have Love Chevy here? Or you
Here,
have
Love Chevy here?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, you're up.
Rolling through the month of love. That's Love Chevrolet, that is. You're past the day of love. Now it's still the month of love, which means you need to get over to Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Irmo between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Why? Because it's your one-stop shop. Whether it's new or pre-owned, the great folks at Love Chevrolet have got you taken care of. You've always heard me talk about 14 acres of brand new Chevys. You've heard me talk about just how great the selection of brand new cars is, whether it's a Tahoe, a Silverado, whatever you've been looking for, the folks at Love Chevrolet have got you taken care of. But you've also now should be aware of the fact that the great folks at Love Automotive in Knox on Knox Abbott Drive in Casey have moved their fantastic pre-owned lot over to Irmo, over to the great folks at Love Chevrolet. So now whether it's new or pre-owned, you are completely taken care of. You just need to make that one stop over in Harbison I-26 between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park to check out everything that's going on, whether it's the 14 acres of brand new Chevys, whether it's the $1,000 low price guarantee, or that incredible sales staff. You're guaranteed at Love Chevrolet to find the car or truck you have been looking for. So go visit Love Chevrolet. It's the month of love. You will not be disappointed. Again, South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer, I-26 in Harbison, or on the web at lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
Did you guys hear about Demetrius Robertson?
Nope.
Over the weekend, there's warrants out for his arrest now because he removed a parking boot from his car. I don't know how he did that.
You're just more impressed than anything else?
Well, I guess I'm surprised that it's serious enough to remove a parking boot that you're like a wanted criminal, but I'm also really impressed that he was able to get a boot off.
Wouldn't it just, I've seen them, but I mean, it's not. I would assume that if you've got some tools, it's not overly complicated.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at them. I've never been booted, but I'm very curious by them. And yeah,
I mean, I don't. Does it require? Can you get away with doing it without having to cut?
I
Like,
don't
is
know.
it as simple as knowing how to get a few screws out, or I don't know.
It seems more complicated because it goes in around the tire on both sides. I don't even think you can just really take the tire off either.
That's an interesting question. Can you just take the tire off?
Yeah, and also some people boot cars that are like not allowed to boot cars. There's a place on campus. One of my friends got booted, but it was, I won't say what the place was, but it was like a local business that had no actual authority to be booting cars, but they just had a boot, so they booted his car. And he had to just go knock on the door or something. It was like, hey, why'd you boot my car? And they're like, yeah, you're not supposed to park there. He's like, all right, well, can you take it off? And they're like, yeah, sure. And they went and took it off, but they were just like, yeah, we just booted it so that you'll know, don't park there again.
Had not heard this story there, Trey. It sounds pretty brutal.
A lot of people lost power in Texas.
Yeah.
I know that, but he's saying they're on the bus.
So basically, being a single guy, I discovered post Valentine's candy sale last night. Don't ask. I don't know why I've never noticed this before, but I went into Walgreens to pick up some pictures that I'd printed off, and I came across the candy store or the candy sale rack.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
is he going to get the actual candy?
Like, what?
Bring back just a waterfall of candy? Oh,
We ended up with a bag of Hershey's Hearts, Reese's Cups, and I was excited about these. These are actually pretty delicious raspberry and cream Kit Kats.
Ooh, that sounds terrible.
Sounds awful.
And actually, they're really good. Like, it tastes kind of like Fruity Pebbles. Like, it's actually not bad. So last night I had gone through Panera because my great aunt passed away yesterday, so I was kind of busy all day. And I didn't get back. I didn't get to fix dinner, so I was taking my grandma. So I stopped Panera and then went through Eckerd's or Walgreens. I had a good time last night. Just chili, mac and cheese, and bags of candy.
Nice.
Wow.
You didn't get the heart-shaped Russell Stover box?
No. I mean, they were limited. If I'd have been more aware of the discount post Valentine's candy, I would have been there at 9 a.m. yesterday morning.
I had this conversation yesterday. I was trying to figure out what percentage of Russell Stover's profits for the year are like the 2 weeks before and after, or just the month of February, basically. But I couldn't
honestly,
really find the answer.
That second, third, and fourth quarter meetings are tough there at Russell Stover.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely think that probably close to half their sales for the year would be for Valentine's Day, right?
They're already planning ahead for distribution
Uh-huh.
for next year.
And how do
Because
you
during the
suckers
year they
buy
sell the
leftovers
like
now?
rectangular long
They're
white
back in.
boxes, but then they can't sell that many of those compared to the heart-shaped boxes.
They're sending out the questionnaires to figure out how to be ready for next year.
Making the push for Easter now.
Yeah, oh, big
Yeah, I
time.
mean, what else? Won the Valentine's. Yeah.
Oh.
While Bill continues to ride a candy high and Patrick ponders one of life's big questions, how much business does Russell Stover do actually around the Valentine's Day? What percentage of that is their entire business? Well, let's see if we can get back on the sports train here. Gus Malzahn, UCF head coach, the headline of the weekend, especially for those of us who live and love college football. To me, this just shows how crazy football coaches are. The guy just got paid. How much? Auburn owes him 20
21.5, yeah.
20, he owed him $22 million. He's already got 11. He's got another 11 on the way, is what I read yesterday.
Right. He already got paid a lump sum of $11 million. And how long did he take off? 2 weeks? Was he off 2 weeks?
I mean, no,
Maybe,
2 months.
maybe a month?
What do you mean 2? I mean, you got Lake in December, and it's. I mean, we're
Right, so he's
past
off
the
a
halfway
month.
point. Two.
Right. 6 weeks. Are we
It's only
gonna do
been a
that
couple
now?
weeks since the UCF vacancy opened.
Right. Okay, so 6 weeks he had off, and he is ready to jump back in. To me, I don't know how much Gus Malzahn has to gain by taking this job. Scott Frost already did what you can do at UCF. You go undefeated. What can Gus Malzahn prove other than that he's about as good a coach at UCF as a guy who has failed at Nebraska?
Well, I think
Thus far?
I think it's pretty simple. I think because I was reading about yesterday. He's 55 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of in the prime of his career. I feel like he wants to coach right now. And we were joking about it earlier, but again, none of us, and I don't know how many out there would classify Central Florida as a pressure cooker of a job, right? Like I don't like that question was funny yesterday, but if you're Gus Malzahn, I guarantee you Gus Malzahn, who's been at Auburn, is probably looking at it like, hey man, I didn't look to see what he's going to get paid. I don't even know if they released that yesterday, but he's probably looking at it like, yeah, I get to call ball plays. I'm not going to have to deal with the SEC West or with Nick Saban or one of the things he's got to do is beat up on Jeff Scott in South Florida, which should be pretty realistic given where those two programs are right now. He's probably looking at it as this is a pretty good gig. Just got $22 million, going to live in Orlando. Grandkids could come down, hang out. We'll take them over to the Disney parks. I'll coach a little football. I got a good quarterback that I get to inherit right away in Dylan Gabriel. And
2.3, by the way, 5-year contract, 2.3 per.
And if he wants to get back into the SEC, honestly, he probably could have held out and gotten back in the SEC within the net or the ACC, whatever he wants. But I think for a guy, Auburn, everything he had to go through, constantly being on the hot seat, I guarantee he's looking at that thing going, "Wow, this will be a lot more fun. It's not going to be as difficult. I'm in the state of Florida where I can recruit a little bit easier on that level. Not having to compete with Nick Saban or Jimbo Fisher or whoever's at LSU, whether it's Orgeron or Les Miles, Lane Kiffin. This is a different form of a job."
Yeah, what do you think because I think he almost might just be content. He loves to play golf, right? Isn't that something we know about Malzahn? So I almost feel like he's just thinking, I'll just ride this thing out. I can be the UCF coach for a decade.
He's probably thinking
$20 million here, win a lot of games.
I don't know whether it's true or not. It'll be kind of interesting. He's probably thinking, hey, if I win 9 or 10 games here a year, they're gonna love me.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe not. I mean, they have a national championship in the last 5 years.
It's true.
Okay, so if it's hard for, I think, any of us who have never made ridiculous amounts of money to understand maybe the financial, maybe it's completely off the board, right? He's good. He's set financially no matter what. Why wouldn't you make $2.3 million a year if you can? Okay, I can give you that. What about his comment that the UCF job is a top 20 national job? Because I'm not buying that. I get it. It's a massive school, and a couple of you have talked this morning. I think Bryant went on a relatively lengthy message on the live stream about how it would be a nice add to the ACC. Everything they bring there certainly would be a rare kind of football-focused school in that league. And the school is massive. The facilities have been pretty good. The fan base is a pretty attractive one, I think, from that standpoint. So I get that. But what are you guys thinking about a top 20 job for Central Florida?
No.
45.
You have to say that
Straight up, no.
Yeah.
If it's not top 20, where is it?
It's not a Power 5 job, so it's not a top 20 job. But I've been down there.
Best job in Florida, right?
see off the top of my head.
Because
Florida
it's not a
State,
Power 5
Miami,
job. If you guys ever been,
Florida.
it's not a. I'll say this: if it ever gets into the ACC, or if it ever got into a Power 5 conference, I'd argue it's a top 20 job. It's
15.
actually set up to grow. Their stadium and everything about it is a very neat. We'll talk about that, Tim. I don't know if you went down there beginning of last decade. South Carolina played down there and saw everything that they got.
Hour 2 coming up. It's the early game on 107.5. No, I didn't make the trip down there. I know you did. Said it was a pretty good environment for the game, eh?
Yeah, well, it is. It is. I mean, and the way their stadium is designed, it's the easiest thing in the world to add on and build more to it. And they've got some decent facilities. It's in a great location. I think it's one of the 3 biggest schools in America. I think their enrollment was something ridiculous, like over 50,000.
Yeah. Had a cousin that went there. Todd, I'm guessing this is talk to text. YOU dash or space CF. And of course, has to mention the national championship in Alabama. And so it's Todd's basically saying good morning.
Yeah.
This is where we are in the sports calendar. Roddy hits us up. First-time winner in the Bassmasters Elite Series. Congratulations to Brian New, a North Carolina native.
That's why we took yesterday off.
Is that pro fishing or is that college fishing?
Bassmasters Elite. Come on, Patrick. That's I have no idea. I would guess that's straight up pros, bro. Let's see. Frank hit us up. Jen, did you know this? Marcus / Michael is apparently an excellent musician, piano player.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
There we go.
Learn something
I'm
new every
guessing-
day.
I don't know why Frank would make that up, so I'm guess I didn't confirm it, but I think we can go with it.
What is his name?
Jen.
Michael what?
Jen, do I have anything else this morning?
We have who?
Do I have anything else this morning?
I texted you. You have 810 Corley Pool.
Hadn't come through yet, but all right.
Do you guys see Trevor Lawrence's hand size?
Nope, sure didn't, Patrick.
Is
Sure
it
didn't.
about? I'm assuming it's a lot smaller than his ego.
Wow.
Trevor Lawrence's ego?
I just have a thing about him. I don't know. I just
It's the hair.
I have a
It's
thing
the-
about
Jen's got a thing for Trevor Lawrence. I heard it. Did anybody else hear it? Jen's got a
a
thing for Trevor
negative
Lawrence.
thing. Negative.
I have a thing for Urban Meyer. Did you see the way he was standing at midfield, just like completely away from everyone else, just standing with Dabo?
Oh, we could get into that too. The strength coach deal.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I took a screenshot of Mike Bianchi, the Orlando guy, his first article, and the way that he tweeted it out. It said, "Oh, I gotta read it because it was so ridiculous." And then, as I went to click on the link didn't work because he had already, I guess, they had already retracted it, and the dude had resigned.
I didn't see
Wait, I
that.
can't find screenshots on my phone, but I'm going to try here. It's something like racially tone deaf or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of stuff that he did in Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say.
But I mean, that was known, and then
Right.
they hired him, and Urban Meyer was asked directly about it, and he was like, "Yeah, well, we vetted him well." And then when he stepped down, the Jaguars put out a statement like, "Yeah, we didn't properly vet him." It's like,
Yeah.
He just said
Well-run organization.
24 hours ago that you vetted the guy. Like, unreal.
Exactly.
Good luck, Trevor.
Exactly. And that I don't wish anybody to go into that kind of a environment.
I'm searching screenshot on my phone, and it's not helping at all. How dumb I am.
It was a fun NFL weekend. That was a fun draft weekend.
Well, why'd you bring up the hand size?
Oh, 10 inches.
Joe Burrow?
No, 10. Big.
Wow.
10 was big.
Yeah.
I'm glad I
Well,
don't
like,
know.
he's 6'6". You would think he'd have pretty good size.
6'5" and 5'8".
6'5" and 5'8".
The fact that you know this offhand really is a little scary. Does
He
he
got
like
measured.
go for
Well,
long walks?
that's what he did on Valentine's morning. Is he was prepped. Did you cook on Valentine's or did you go out?
No, cooked.
What'd you cook?
Scallops and yeah,
Strong. How'd they turn out?
very well, I think. I didn't really know. That was the first time I ever cooked them. I was worried about under or overcooking them. I really had no idea what
How'd
to
you
do.
cook them?
Just I have an electric skillet that's like yay big.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a little over a pound, which turned out to be, I think, 19 scallops. Yeah, I was like, whoa, that's
Wow.
way more than I thought it was going to be. So we had a bunch.
Best thing to do is just put them in a hot skillet on the stove. Put like a little lemon juice and a little butter.
That's exactly what I did. I just greased the pan with a bunch of butter, and then a little lemon juice on each side. Flipped them, a little garlic. Cooked them in garlic. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep, there you go. It doesn't take long. Doesn't take long to cook it all. Maybe just depends on what you want. But yeah, that's the crazy thing. I learned that because you go in the store and you see like scallops, $23 a pound or something. You're like, man, I can't find it. All you need, if it's just you at the house, if you buy 8 of them, that's a meal, and that's like.
Yeah. I mean, if you get a scallop dish like a pasta and scallops at a restaurant, they're probably only gonna put like 4 to 6 scallops on there.
Yep.
Yep, couldn't find the screenshot. What a dummy I am.
Who was the guy?
Mike Bianchi, Orlando.
If it is decent today, I think I'm going to do burgers with the kids today. That's the.
I bet head back into the open. Well, you could always do what Ross Chastain did during the break.
One more time, Jen, sorry.
I said you could always do what Ross Chastain did when he went through the McDonald's drive-thru during the
What's that?
in the break, like when the rain delay at Daytona.
Ah,
Funny.
nice.
He's like, "Why drive for him?" And he was feeding his crew. Got to find entertainment. Ezra.
It's cold, but it could be a whole lot worse. That's what I'm taking away from our weekend weather here in South Carolina. Thankful that we're in South Carolina and even Texas. Texas, I guess, is getting it maybe the worst. I've been in Texas when it's been bad like this, and I can confirm, not pretty at all. And one of the reasons, you got a picture there, Jen, showing us on the live video stream. I can't quite tell. I can't quite make that out. What do you got? Can you describe it for everybody?
Yeah, basically the hotel that I was staying at with my sister when we were taking care of my mom, and mom's back in the hospital, and so Jane's staying there a few more nights, and they got hammered. So they were supposed to get like 13 to 15 inches of snow. So she looked out the window this morning, and you see the tractor going through and trying to actually plow the sidewalks. It's just
wow,
exponential snow is crazy.
And that's up in Chicago. At least they're used to it up there to some degree, as opposed to down in Texas where it happens, but they handle it about how we handle it. It ain't great down there. And maybe, Bill, that's one of the reasons that you pointed out the sports headline for college football for the weekend for sure. Gus Malzahn taking the UCF job, and you're talking about how you've been down there. We were talking off air right after we went to break there. You went down to South Carolina and Central Florida a few years ago. The stadium, you say, is easy to be added onto. What do you mean by that exactly?
Yeah, it's just the way they've got. It's kind of a lower bowl right now, but it would be very easy just to kind of build on top of it and just add another section to it. If they were able to get a Power 5, I don't know what it seats at this current time, but if they were able to add on top of it.
Take a guess before we look it up. I see you guys typing away. I'm going to guess 55. Probably too high.
I was going to go 40. I would have said 44. And I'm
Patrick,
not.
Did you have a guess, or did you look it up too quickly?
I looked it up too quickly.
Yep, man, thanks kids these days, man. All right, you want to give us the number? Or you want to let some other people guess?
45,301.
Well, Bill's all over it. Well done. So, yeah, a good-sized stadium. How was the atmosphere? I've heard good things about the game down there. It was a pretty good game with Blake Bortles and company playing quarterback. Mike Davis had a big game for the Gamecocks. What was that, 2012? Is that right, Bill? 2013? Or, I guess that would have been maybe 13 or 14, right?
2013, Connor Shaw got hurt. Early in that game. Dylan Thompson came in and struggled at the first half. South Carolina was down. I think we were down 10-0 at halftime, I believe, and then Spurrier gave the ball to Mike Davis in the second half, and South Carolina got going there. Davis had a long touchdown run and kind of took over the game. But it was crazy. It was an early game. It was an ABC game. It was an early game, and we got down to that. I don't know, quad area. I don't know what you want to call it. It would be similar to the horseshoe, but just wide open. In between, I really don't know all what was around me, if it was dorms or if it was classrooms, but it was kind of a open area right down the center of campus. It was really neat because you just walked right down it towards the stadium, but they had tents. Students were very fired up that day. They had started tailgating sometime in August, I believe, for a game that was about a month and a half out. And by the time 9 a.m. rolled around, they were having a really, really good time down there. But I thought it was a neat little trip. I mean, we're going to talk about it as we get to August. South Carolina is going to go up and play in Greenville, North Carolina this year, a road trip at East Carolina. Maybe some fans that are listening this morning went up, and I think it was 96 is the last time South Carolina went up there. Anthony Wright was quarterback, and South Carolina won that game. I wouldn't be opposed to a return trip to Central Florida. Again, it was a kind of to Orlando. You've also got Bright House Stadium. I think it's Bright House Stadium is the name of the where they have the bowl game. That's got about 65,000 seats. South Carolina being down there for the Capital One Bowl. But that'd be it. If you talk about non-Power 5 games, South Carolina again has got a game scheduled on the road at Appalachian State, I believe, in 2025, if I'm thinking correctly. So you go up to Boone. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Central Florida is going to be interesting as we move through and we get closer to college football season. And again, we go through this coming season and we return to normal. What college football will start to look like as I talked about expansion. Patrick Brake talks about just expanding the playoff, which is very possible.
Do you think this hire will affect South Carolina recruiting at all? Because I could just tell, maybe I'm reading into it too much, but knowing your background in recruiting, knowing the fruitful state that is Florida in college football, I felt like that's kind of where you were going when you were talking about how attractive a job this is, and especially could be if they were ever to get into a Power 5 situation from a conference standpoint. But Gamecocks and basically everybody in college football has to go into Florida and pull some guys out of there. Certainly Carolina has done that through the years. Does this affect Carolina at all, in your opinion?
I mean, it could. It very, very well could. If you're Ohio State or Georgia or Alabama, you're able to sell, hey, we can play for a national championship in the next year with you. Central Florida can't sell that. South Carolina's having to sell, hey, you come here and you help us build to that. Central Florida, Gus Malzahn can kind of counteract that argument with a few other points of their own. Stay home and play for us. Yeah, I definitely think it is. Again, I think what's going to be interesting is what if Gus Malzahn has, say, the cachet. Can Gus Malzahn and Luke Fickell's growing in popularity, and I don't know if he'll stay at Cincinnati or if he'll go on to take a bigger job, such as a Michigan or something here in the coming years. But if those two guys can kind of work together, if they can create something big with the AAC, maybe you don't have conference expansion. Maybe what you have is the NCAA or college football willing to include the AAC in the Power 5 and make it the Power 6. You've got some good markets there: Memphis, Houston, Central Florida. Cincinnati's not a bad market. I believe Tulane is in there as well. You get another big market in the New Orleans area. I think that is a conference that you look at, and going back to the discussion we're having right there at the top of the hour, if that ever happened, yeah, I would definitely consider Central Florida to jump into being one of the top 20 jobs in the country and being a very, very attractive job because of where they're at, because of the recruiting footprint, because of they'd have to upgrade their facilities. The stadium has got potential. They've built that new tiki bar lounge thing that they did a few years ago, whatever it was there, for club seating. But it would be a very good job, and it's a very good job as a non-Power 5 job as it is right now.
Is it not hard to schedule games there? Like, isn't it hard to get Power 5 teams to play you?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's been the word. And you can understand why at this point. Maybe Malzahn and his name brand recognition changes that a little bit. I mean,
probably
Josh
less.
Heupel finished
Tim, I beg
They'll be more scared to play you?
Yeah, why would you want to go? I mean, Gus Malzahn's a good coach. He is a good coach.
I guess you kind of need UCF to just get to the level where a loss to UCF on your schedule won't hurt you or won't be looked down upon in any way. I mean,
just looking into the future. This year they'll play Boise State. They'll travel to Louisville, and of course, thank goodness they've got this rivalry. The civil conflict rivalry? They get the Connecticut. Yeah, they're getting that back on. Getting that sucker back on the schedule. Thank goodness.
Do you guys know who Boise State's coach is?
Alex Avito?
Nope. Both initials were correct though.
Yeah, I saw this.
Ovechkin?
No,
it's double A though.
Well, the only reason I knew that he's the defensive coordinator from Oregon. And he played linebacker from. The only reason I knew that is yesterday, and we get into this in a little while. Dennis Dodd, I think it was yesterday. I saw it yesterday, so it might have been over the weekend. Put out his grades. No, it was definitely yesterday because he had Gus Malzahn on there. Put out his grades for all the coaching hires, and.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, who's the happiest fan base? Tennessee with Heupel or Auburn and I was like, who even is the Boise State head coach? Who even played? Right. And it's Andy Avalos.
That was pretty close.
But Alex Avito actually was kind of close.
Well, again, I saw it yesterday because I was reading, and I was the same way. I read it. I was like, oh, this is who they hired because after Kellen Moore didn't take the job, I kind of zoned out on that job and didn't pay attention anymore.
Kellen Moore's in that Joe Brady realm where he's not going to take another job until it's NFL head coach.
Yeah.
Well, you thought if there was any shot at college, it would be Boise State and his alma mater for sure. Mm-hmm. But I think your point, Patrick, was that UCF wins. I'm guessing that was the point of the Dennis Dodd article, Bill, from a name brand recognition and an off-season on-paper hire. UCF dominates this thing, right? So I don't think it's even close.
I mean, would a Tennessee fan rather have Josh Heupel than Gus Malzahn?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think most of them would. I mean, there are pluses and minuses with both, but just from the surface, there's no doubt Malzahn has done much more in his coaching career.
Yeah, I think schematically, from what I've seen, I was looking at some passing charts on Pro Football Focus, and it looks like their offenses are fairly similar. But just from Just for the record, I'm scrolling as we talk college football. You're asking why? Well, this weekend we start. Last week they got started. The FCS got started. You had McNeese knock off Tarleton State 40-37, double overtime, a classic, of course, last week. Wow.
Yeah, had a very good game. This weekend you got a good schedule going. You got 2 games on Friday. Let's see, Lincoln, Missouri is at Nichols, and South Dakota State at Northern Iowa. Saturday, you've got some names. We got an in-state game, 2 in-state games. You've got Wofford. Mercer is at Wofford. Western Carolina is at Furman this weekend. Just any other names that anybody might be interested. I will say, break out the ESPN Plus, Patrick. This is where your film study comes in. 2:00 on Sunday. Eastern Illinois is at UT Martin. Going to need a complete breakdown of what Eastern Illinois looks like here this year.
So we got a whole new season of Maction from Bill's perspective, trying to sell us.
I don't have. Well, I can't sell it. I don't have ESPN Plus. All these games are on ESPN Plus.
That game's on Saturday.
Sunday Eastern Illinois is. But you've got. I was trying to look at it. It says I've got at noon. I've got.
I don't think I'll
Moorhead.
watch a single game this spring, a single football game this spring.
I'm not going to get ESPN Plus for it. If it was on, like ESPNU or something like that, and I could put the TV outside this weekend. It's supposed to be cold, but I think next week it looks like it's going to be in the 60s. The following weekend, if I could put the TV outside, like have a cigar and kind of relax and cut up, I would put it on to have as like background filler noise. It would be competing against whatever the golf tournament is that particular weekend.
Yeah, Caps play the Rangers on Sunday, so I'm gonna go ahead and
Get
probably
fired
have to miss that Eastern Illinois game.
Well, believe it or not, I know it's hard to with the weather, but college baseball season does start this Friday, and the Gamecocks will be at home. Dayton is the series to start for Mark Kingston and company. As I don't know, what do we say? I guess he's starting his 4th season, but the 3rd season cut way short after a 12-4 start last year. So I don't even know exactly how to put that necessarily.
Well, starting his 4th season is fair. Just
Okay.
he will be finishing his
3rd season.
Yeah.
In its entirety. JB hits us up on the Cool Care Evening Air text line 803-404-6100. Says UCF is a great trip. The Bar District is really fun. So that was from the Gamecock perspective, I'm guessing. Carlton says from the SC State perspective, he agrees that UCF was a good venue, and SC State was down there to start the season not too long ago. So you get it kind of from 2 different perspectives. Top 20 job nationally. I'm wondering how we compare right now as we talk about Gus Malzahn taking that UCF job, where the UCF job is compared to the Carolina job, and what he's taking over, Gus Malzahn taking over for Josh Heupel as he heads to Tennessee, as opposed to Shane Beamer taking over for Will Muschamp, and what South Carolina has been. I know Shane was on with the halftime guys on Friday, talking a little bit more about his familiarity now, getting familiar with the roster and moving forward with the program here about a month out from spring practice. So we'll get into that as we continue to roll on this morning. Also, Gamecock basketball over the weekend. Tough loss for Carolina, 3rd straight at home to Ole Miss, 81-74. Irmo native Devontae Shuler with a career-high 31 points. And that one, I think, especially aided Frank Martin in some of his post-game comments, talking about how guys this year are getting career highs against his team, and that hadn't happened before. So we'll discuss as we continue to roll on. And thanks for getting up early with us. Hope your morning is off to a safe and warm start. We'll do what we can to help you through it. It's the early game. That's 107.5 The Game.
Clear.
George, that's hilarious. See George apologizing for his comment there. First time viewing, all look differently from how you sound except Jen. I would switch Tim and Patrick as to voice matching face. Sorry to be honest, guys.
It's okay.
I'm good with that.
Like the honesty.
I didn't take offense to that at all.
Like the honesty.
And thanks for joining the YouTube, George. You can watch Bill yawn and try to stay awake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe Patrick will take this, maybe take some offense to George's analysis of watching for the first time, Patrick.
Yeah,
Check
I don't
it out
understand.
there.
Is he saying I look like you sound?
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Sadly, I hear something about, you have the radio face to match your radio voice. It's probably not good.
I think this is one of probably the better looking radio programs.
You'll put us up in the radio beauty pageant against anybody? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I would give us a shot. I mean, there are some that you look at and you're like, yeah, this guy's clearly could not do anything but radio.
Yeah. There's a guy that when I did some consulting work for some stations when I worked with Children's Miracle Network, and, you meet people like the different morning shows like Squirrel and Sugar. That was one of the teams that I worked with. And Squirrel, yeah, that's about right. And then there was Mud Flap, and
Good name.
again, you know, he was a radio guy, and that was good.
Is he saying that's sad that
Thank you, Steven.
I would put us up against?
Well,
I don't know. Maybe it's sad for the radio industry. That's what he's saying.
I mean, it is. It is.
pretty much
There's
it
some good-looking
is.
people on the
It
radio.
is. But you got to also remember, I mean, we're not working with makeup artists like I'm sure Dan Patrick or Colin Cowherd do.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they came from TV, so they're not radio guys.
Those pretty boys from TV. Hey,
Yeah.
Tim.
Yes. Dink.
Hey.
Well, check back in 40 days. I'm gonna be yoked in 40 days.
Who will?
Me?
What are you
What are you
doing?
doing in 40 days?
It's Lent starts tomorrow.
Right? What you doing?
Oh,
Well, I'm just gonna cut out no soda, no sweets, no fast food. Just
What?
all my
Wow.
meals are gonna be cooked.
All
You know what
three.
that sounds like is that he's saving money. That doesn't say it just. I mean, he already doesn't go without heat. He may as well have just thrown heat in there.
Yeah, and that's gonna be another benefit. That's gonna be an added benefit. But like,
that's a lot for, like, giving up a lot.
I've been doing
Impressive.
no soda. I've been doing no soda since like right after Christmas. Black coffee, and
I mean, I'm not giving up coffee or booze. I'm just the food part of it.
I felt so. I bought. Somebody also gave me a bag of Patrick, more up your way. Tim Hortons coffee. Have you ever heard of Tim Hortons?
Yeah, Tim
Yeah.
Hortons is massive in Canada.
It's Starbucks in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody gave me a bag over the weekend, so I've got 2 bags of the coffee for wellness and a bag of Tim Hortons.
Oh, he's all set.
Actually, still, I had a rough Saturday because I got these double hearted. It was a double
I got
IPA.
those good.
But have you had the double IPA?
What is it? 8.0?
11.
11.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I had a 6-pack of those, and I was like, oh my gosh, how do I feel this bad? Like, just waking up in the morning, my head was pounding. I was like, how is this
Yeah.
even possible? And then I checked it, and it was like 11. Oh my goodness.
Always good to check after you drink it.
Yeah, I just didn't expect that.
Does typically, if you check it afterwards, it does explain usually what's going on.
Yeah.
Is Tiger playing Riviera this week? Good question. I think he is scheduled to. Let me double check that for you. Never wins at Riviera, and then Genesis Invitational home. Let's see if he's in. They have him in the
He is
field.
not listed. No.
But of course, he's the first video they have up on their website on the Genesis Invitational.
He is not listed. You got Dustin Johnson, John Rahm, Justin Thomas, Schauffele, McElroy, Morikawa, DeChambeau, Cantley, Koepka, Hovland. Got a great field this weekend.
I watched a bunch of Pebble on Sunday, especially. Hey, how about a 4-putt from old Nate Lashley? Did you see that? Tied for the lead, 4-putt, 7. I can relate to that.
Yeah, I was really into golf on Friday, and Saturday and Sunday completely got away from me. I might have been asleep in bed, asleep by 5:45 on Saturday.
That's impressive.
Because he was still hammered at noon, or what?
When we started.
All right, I'm back in.
Gus Malzahn says UCF a top 20 national job. Now, you got to say that kind of thing, I guess, when you take that job, but just the fact that he is taking that job, coming off being fired at Auburn and owed $21.7 million. Already got paid half of that in lump sum, I think, before the end of the calendar year in 2020. And now making very similar salary, $2.3 million, I think, is what Malzahn's getting paid for the next 5 years. Pretty similar to the $2.75 that Shane Beamer's getting paid. Bill, if we already had the discussion, we disagree that UCF is a top 20 national job, but I think we do all agree it's not that far off. Top 40, I think, would be a fair assessment of that. Patrick, is that you accept that one? Yes or no?
Top 40, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to make a list, and I mean, I just automatically put South Carolina above them, but I was thinking, like, where would that rank in the state of Texas? Obviously behind A&M and UT, but is it a worse job than the other Big 12 schools? Like, is it a better job than TCU or Texas Tech or Baylor? I think I probably would say yes.
Okay, I think it's a pretty fair analysis. I think nationally the perception has got to be these jobs are pretty close, don't you think, Bill? It does depend how you look at it, right? If you're looking to get to the college football playoff, clearly you have a better opportunity at South Carolina than at Central Florida because we've seen them go undefeated and not be invited. Right?
Is that clear, though? I don't know, because for one of those group of 5 teams to make it, they're probably going to have to go undefeated a couple years in a row and come into the season ranked like maybe in the 12 to 20 range, and then have basically no teams, or maybe only 2 teams go undefeated or something like that, and maybe they can squeak in. That seems almost more likely than where South Carolina would have to go from where they are right now to the level of a Clemson or Alabama or whatever these teams are that end up making the playoffs, or Georgia.
Just saying the opportunity is there for the Gamecocks, right? The schedule is there. You roll through the schedule,
Yeah.
even you lose one game, you're in the college football playoff. I know it's a massive hypothetical from losing 16 games the last 2 seasons combined. But the other side of it, we just have not seen that happen. The outside the Power 5, make a run somehow and get your way to the college football playoff. We see contention and the storyline every single year, and then we also see it fizzle out, and it just hasn't become reality. It looks like Bill might be doing his taxes right now. Very serious, writing things down, looking intently down at a piece of paper. Are you coming up with a list? Where are we doing over there?
Grocery list.
Yeah, actually, I do have to go to the grocery store today. I was certain. All right, so I was doing what I would say is certain top 20 jobs. No questions asked. Certain top 20 jobs. I've got 6 in the SEC. Certain. No questions asked.
Don't read them off then. We'll let Patrick and I guess at the 6 certain top 20 jobs in the country out of the SEC. Patrick, you want to go off the top of your head?
In the SEC,
Yes.
Yeah.
Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Tennessee, Florida, A&M, and there's one, Georgia, of course.
6 for 6.
Yeah.
Bill's nodding. Oh, give sound effects too. Nice. Okay. I agree with all of this. I'm with you on that one. And then that leaves off both Mississippi's there in the West, Arkansas in the West, and then it comes to the East and it leaves off the other 5 programs, right, that aren't Florida and Georgia.
Right.
So I think that math adds up, right? 3 in the West that I mentioned, and then 5 in the East. 8 plus 6 is 14. We've done some good math here this morning. Okay, Bill, go ahead. It sounded like you were starting a list of top 20.
That's. I'm just going across the paper here. So that was the SEC. I've got 3 for certain top 20 jobs in the Big Ten. 3 for certain top 20 jobs.
Ohio
Okay, I
State,
got
Michigan,
those.
and Penn State.
Yep, those are pretty simple. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Agree.
Yep, that
Okay,
takes us
those-
to 9.
Check,
This
check,
is.
check.
I tell you what. I'm gonna
There's
skip the
2 in the
SEC.
Big 12.
I'm gonna skip the ACC. I'll go Big 12. 2 in the Big 12.
Yep,
Red
Texas,
River
Oklahoma.
rivalry. Right?
Yep.
Texas, Oklahoma. Okay.
I've got right now 2 in the. I don't. I wrote down 2 in the Pac-12.
You wrote down Southern Cal and
I
Oregon,
would
I'm
think
guessing.
3. With 3 and maybe 4. Stanford. Because Stanford has the same problems as, you talk about like the issues of recruiting a school of that caliber, but Stanford's different. Like Stanford gets 5-star players.
I would have given you UCLA. Now, see, I don't know enough about UCLA and Washington's facilities, but UCLA
Washington Stadium is pretty sick.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about their facilities. Stanford would not be. I would give you UCLA recruiting base. There is some tradition there. But I don't know enough about their facility. That's what I'm saying. Surefire jobs. Surefire a job. So I went Oregon and Southern Cal.
Right. Agree.
I
think
Oregon
that's
and
the
Southern
obvious
Cal.
ones.
All right. So right now that takes us to 13. I actually put 3 out of the ACC.
Clemson, Miami, and Virginia Tech?
No.
Florida State.
Florida State's the second one. Clemson's the first. And I went with a third for several different reasons, and I can kind of explain it as a top 20 job.
Not Virginia Tech or Miami, huh?
Nope,
North
neither.
Carolina.
Yes.
Top 20.
Facilities, brand, recruiting base. Yes, I think definitely North Carolina is a top 20 job. So that's how
How many jobs did you just write down?
16. At least 4.
So Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's a good. Yes, thank you. And the independent.
So I would say
17 jobs that I've come
except
up
for
with.
North Carolina, I would say most of college football fans would accept those 16 for sure, right? There's not much of an argument of the 16. Patrick, you with me on that?
Did you put? Yeah. Well, did you put Oregon, right?
Yes,
Oregon,
Southern Cal, the only 2 Pac-12 teams out there. If we're let's just go relatively unhot take wise out there. I think that's pretty acceptable for almost everybody, right? Specific fan bases, I get it. Like Carlton just hit us up with Wisconsin. They certainly have an argument. I would put them over North Carolina real quick. But we were just doing off the top of our head, best jobs in college football. You got 16 of them sitting right there. And then 17 through what, Bill? 40? I think you can kind of throw them all in there and shuffle them to some degree, except when you're talking about a job that's unique, like Central Florida.
Right.
BYU, you throw that job in there too, in that 17 through 40 range. But now what else do we throw in there? Is Louisiana, Lafayette in there? Is Coastal Carolina in there? Certainly not from a historical standpoint, but from where the program is right now,
Then
have
I
to
think
make the argument.
Yeah, I mean, because then you start going through everybody else, and Iowa. You look at what they've done under Kirk Ferentz. You look at Wisconsin. You've got to throw them in there. Michigan State has been to a college football playoff in the last 10 years. Washington, Stanford. Do you throw? I don't know enough about Arizona State's facilities, but you feel like Arizona State with what Herm Edwards is doing. This is maybe where you get into TCU. You talk about them a little bit. Oklahoma State, maybe you throw them in there as well. Now you start talking Virginia Tech. Miami would definitely be in that next group. So that's where it gets a little bit more interesting in terms of, I think I will put North Carolina in there to get me to 17 because of the brand, recruiting base. They got good facilities. I know the stadium's not some massive 80,000 seat stadium, but North Carolina.
Bill's a Miami hater. 5 championships compared to 0 at North Carolina.
And I was going to say, people probably listening are not going to like it, but I still I would have put Tennessee as a 7th out of the SEC.
Interesting. Alan says, how do you leave Florida and A&M out in football? We did not. And Troy, we did not leave Notre Dame out either in that group of 16.
Yeah.
Waddy said on the live stream, is Notre Dame still a destination job?
Having national championships. See, here's the thing, and this is where this is where I don't think people understand the job. Well, that's great. Pittsburgh, I think if you're just saying, well, national championships, Pittsburgh's got some ridiculous amount of championships as well that they won way back in the day, like just going absolutely way back into the day. I don't know if Miami is a top 20 job. It's a good job, but we just rattled off what I would say is 16. If you guys want to take Pittsburgh has 9 national titles. 9.
That's a nutty number.
Now, eight of them are from 1915 to 1937. They also, for some reason, have 8 unclaimed national championships in 1980 and 1981.
That was back in the Dan Marino days.
Yeah, 80 and 81. They've got 76, 80, and 81 if you want to get on that path. But I get where somebody's saying, hey, you got 5 national championships. There's no doubt that Miami at times has been has had the best football teams in America. Those 2000 and 2001 teams are up there with the best teams all time. But I think
Nebraska's had that too, and we're not going to mention Nebraska in this conversation.
That's a great point. That's an excellent point. Thank you. Nebraska would have been a lot better than Pittsburgh.
No, I like the Pittsburgh one because it's not one that you normally think of. Nebraska automatically comes to mind when you're talking about Miami. To me, that's the same conversation, maybe outside the geographical advantages you have down in South Florida, Manny Diaz and company right now in Scott Frost.
Nebraska's got 5 claimed national titles as well. Are they a top 20 job like Miami? They're not hurt. Their facilities are fine. Their stadiums, I've never been, but you hear a lot about Memorial Stadium. It's phenomenal. Again, the fan base is extremely passionate, which you can't say that Miami, right? Like that fan base is passionate.
Right.
If they're undefeated, if they're 7-3, it's not exactly a fan base that's rocking and rolling. So I'm with you guys. I think the North Carolina one I can leave off. So 16 definite top 20 jobs we've kind of come up with, and then we could really start breaking it down and lose the next hour and a half on just who's the other 4 that fit in there.
Well, I think that's where Malzahn has a bit of an argument. Anonymous Texter just hits us up. Stanford's a better job than North Carolina. Brand, tradition, uniqueness, all the qualities Bill mentioned. I'd say Stanford is a step above North Carolina. And maybe that's the whole point here in this is that 16 kind of inarguable programs in the country. And then it becomes a fight for those last 4 jobs if you're talking about what are top 20 jobs, right? And then 9 if you're going top 20 jobs, top 25 jobs, however far you want to go there. You can make the case for different schools over other schools, and we all do agree that Central Florida is in the argument as we sit here in 2021, correct?
For 20?
Yeah, for the next tier. I think that's what we got to call.
Yeah.
We got to call them the next tier.
The next tier, yeah. I don't think they're in the argument for 20, but in the 20 to 30 range, yeah, I think you have to bring them up.
Okay, and then where do you put South Carolina if you're tiering it all?
I would put them in the same tier as UCF.
Same tier? Bill, is that fair?
Maybe that's a little generous.
I'll be fair with that. Okay. I can get on board with that.
Mike T says the Gamecocks could win a national championship or make it to the playoff before UCF. Certainly could. And the point of, I think, the discussion is it's just how you look at it, right? If you're at UCF and you're Gus Malzahn, you have a much better opportunity every single year to win double-digit games than if you're sitting in the SEC just because of the schedule you play and the noise you can make, the case you can mount by winning a bunch of games. Now, are you going to be a better team, actually, than some of these other Power 5 programs that don't have the record but do have the talent, the facilities, the whole thing? That's where it gets a little wonky in college football. That's why I'm fascinated, and I just still don't think Gus Malzahn has a lot to gain from UCF. I think UCF has a lot to gain with Malzahn. Malzahn's already been to a national championship game. Did it in his first year at Auburn. And the record, he's already put up a massively good record. You guys know Gus Malzahn's record, right? I'm going to recheck it because it doesn't even sound right to put out there. But 68-35, pretty darn good in college football. Plus 12 in the SEC, not easy to do. But it was what Gus Malzahn did against, it's kind of like the Jim Harbaugh effect, or what he's done at Michigan or not done against his main rivals there in Alabama and Georgia. And I think I saw like 3-8 all time is what Malzahn did against.
That's better than Ofer.
Yeah, sure.
Jim Harbaugh is.
But that's what it came down to at Auburn, or that's how the Auburn boosters looked at it. Also, Malzahn just 14-12 against SEC competition over the last 3 years. 803-404-6100, the number into the program. If you would like to join, you can call or text, get in on the conversation. Also, We got the live video stream up and rolling, YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter. He had a hard job in the West, KT says. Yes, it was definitely a hard job and a unique job. Now he's stepping into another unique situation from Auburn to UCF, just wildly different in a lot of different ways. We need to get into some Gamecock basketball discussion. We'll do that when we come back. It's the early game. It's 107.5 the game.
Clear.
See, this is not me here, Bill. Nope, not you either.
No, 8-10.
Got it.
8-10. Oh.
You could have given me 100 guesses. I never would have thought someone would weigh in with West Point.
Yeah.
Billy.
I honestly was, because when Bill was talking about Pittsburgh, I was going to throw in, well, haven't both of the military academies won a bunch of national championships back in the day? But
Billy would have been right there with you. That's what he texted in. Disciplined players and a national fan base, nationwide fan base. That's one way to look at it.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Travis is on the Bill Gunter NCAA tournament mantra of Cinderella.
Correct.
Oh, we can
You listen to Bill way too much, Travis.
you guys saw that Jalen Johnson just decided he's done for the year?
Yeah. Yep. He wasn't, but and then they announced him. He declared for the draft, last night or whatever.
Yeah. Saw John Rothstein put up the take that opting out with 3 weeks left in the regular season isn't opting out, it's quitting.
Yeah.
I was surprised to actually see that take from him.
Apparently he's not buddy-buddy with Coach K.
Well, I didn't realize. Have you seen this incredible, I say Twitter beef, but I don't think it's just Twitter, between Jeff Goodman and Jerry Stackhouse?
No.
It's going now.
I don't really know the details of it, but Jeff Goodman absolutely despises Jerry Stackhouse, and I think the feeling is mutual. And I kind of was trying to, because he took some shots at Stackhouse the other day, saying Stackhouse didn't know the scholarship limit or something about that. Like quoted screenshotted a Q&A. They're not fans of each other.
National guys, man. There's something.
Oh. I just type in.
Of course, now that I'm looking at, apparently Jerry Stackhouse made a Trump reference the other day that he knows. Oh boy,
that's what I'm reading right now. I have his full quote. Said, "How am I not qualified when I played basketball at the highest level and played under some Hall of Fame coaches? I don't have the acumen to know what I'm looking at. What's the angst? We can see it right in front of us. All I can say is 75 million people voted for Trump. That's all I can say. You ain't fooling me. I know what it's about. A lot of you hate everything we did when we came here about the staff. I've worked with him. Yeah.
Goodman,
what did Goodman say about him?
What a tweet. How about this one? Jerry Stackhouse proving all his critics wrong with a big win at Mississippi State. Stack and Vandy now 5-23 in SEC play.
Who did Goodman put that out?
Yeah.
Yikes.
I mean, if you want to define douchey tweet, I think that would be it.
Where could this must be years in the making.
Oh, personal for sure, huh?
Yeah. That's fun.
So now there's a podcast thing. This went down on Friday, it looked like. I guess Friday Stackhouse called Goodman out, and then Goodman responds on Saturday. So ridiculous. What did he respond with? They're irrelevant.
College basketball needs a little bit of that.
Wow.
Apparently it's been going on for a while, so yeah.
Just seeing the tweet from Bungee Hook.
Yeah, bitterness is never a good look, especially at 7:45 in the morning.
You have candy and coffee. Why are you bitter?
I'm not bitter. I'm fine.
Jeez.
I didn't catch Zion versus Luka. That does sound like a good one, though. What are you giggling at? The tweet?
I didn't get tagged in it, but yeah, I just looked at it.
That's because he thinks you're Pearson. I thought about saying do better. It's
That's good.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a heckler, be a good heckler. Do your research.
We're about to head back in.
Here we go, getting back in.
All right, guys are up.
Are we going to be adding Devontae Shuler's name to the list? The list I'm talking about is guys with South Carolina or Columbia connections, and certainly the Ole Miss point guard who scored a career-best 31 points in the 81-74 win for Ole Miss in Columbia over the Gamecocks on Saturday. Impressive over the weekend. But I never thought we'd add him to the long list that we talked about. I feel like this is always part of a South Carolina basketball discussion. What if Stanley Roberts from Lower Richland had gone to South Carolina instead of LSU? And you can go down the list, right? Kevin Garnett and Jermaine O'Neal, and obviously they didn't go to college at all. But what if Devontae Shuler, Bill, seems like exactly what this Carolina basketball team needs. Maybe it's just because he had his career best game. That's an obvious statement then, but a guy who can shoot and score and get to the free throw line. He shot 16 free throws at Colonial Life Arena against the Gamecocks over the weekend. There are a lot of games that South Carolina doesn't even shoot as a team 16 free throws. This time they shot 29 as a team, but still outscored by Ole Miss from the line by 12 points. Are we going to be adding Shuler's name to the list when we have this discussion? If this discussion continues years from now, which since it's been my entire lifetime, I find it hard to believe that it won't continue, at least in some capacity, when we're talking about Gamecock basketball.
No, we won't. He won't be on the list of things. He had a great game. He had a homecoming. He got fired up. He is playing better this year at Mississippi than I thought he could. But no, he won't be a guy that I look at and say, yeah, he's the difference. He's the difference. I don't view that. I don't. You say career high. That what he did on Saturday night's the anomaly. Is not the norm for him. And he's having again a very good season. 16 points per game this year. He's having a career season. I mean, that Saturday night was certainly. I don't know how his year is going to finish out. I hope it finishes out well for him. But he's a senior. I don't know what he's going to elect to do when the year is over. He's classified as a senior. He's averaged double digits 3 of his last 4 years. Again, this year is really peaking out. But no, I don't think I'll ever view him in that manner.
it's just interesting to me. I remember taking a TV camera out to Irmo High School when he was a sophomore, and he was as good as any I've seen in college basketball, especially at that point in his development. And how it all went down, ended up leaving Irmo and going up to Oak Hill Academy, I believe it was, and then ended up at Ole Miss. The Ole Miss thing, I just don't understand. And we saw it with Murphy Holloway, clearly in town years before. And the Tennessee thing with Josiah James down in Charleston, it's just hard for me to wrap my mind around going to a different SEC basketball school if you're an in-state product. I get Zion Williamson going to Duke. I understand Seventh Woods and Larry Davis back in the day going to North Carolina. And if you go that ACC perennial powerhouse program, I kind of get that. But the Ole Miss thing has always seemed kind of odd to me, or anywhere else in the SEC. To get back to Gamecock basketball, though, it was another frustrating performance, I think, overall, where Ole Miss, I forget, somebody else hit us up earlier and said they were actually at the game, and how Ole Miss pushed around the Gamecocks inside. And it just continues to be an traditional Frank Martin coached team this year, and a style of play that we see, not just execution-wise, just almost style as well. And we saw another solid game from A.J. Lawson, even though it wasn't his best shooting game for sure. Ended up shooting 6 out of 19, but still got 22 points. Found a way to score and give the Gamecocks what they need from a scoring standpoint, and 20-plus points for him. It was just – it's a disconnection. Isn't that the best way to put it, Bill, this season, what we've seen from Gamecock men's basketball, where I think Shane Beamer's talked about his job as the head coach is to put the pieces together from a coaching staff standpoint, and then from a roster standpoint. I feel like that's what is missing from Gamecock basketball this year. The pieces just aren't fitting, or when a few of them fit, they fit for maybe a game or two, and then the puzzle gets broken up again.
Yeah, this year's the anomaly. This is definitely not a team that we're accustomed to seeing with South Carolina basketball. I don't think this is not the norm under Frank Martin. He had the 2 or 3 bad years at the beginning when he was having to completely rebuild the roster. But by and large, this team has been competitive, and they've been above 500, and they've finished in the top half of the SEC over the last several years. This year is, for whatever reason, it's not clicking. Whether it's not executing the plays being drawn up, not listening. I don't know. It's easy. I understand why people point to the one appearance in 9 years. That certainly is a statistic that Frank Martin would like to have changed. That is the norm. That is par for the course for South Carolina, though. That's, if you look at the last 45 years and 9 appearances, he's on pace for what South Carolina does. But this year is an anomaly under Frank Martin. This is not a typical Frank Martin team. This is not what you get on a year-in, year-out basis. And so, I don't know exactly what the issue is. And again, it's a different team because they're not the physical rock-fighting team that you've seen from Martin in the past.
But doesn't that make it more concerning that it's the anomaly when all we talked about was how this is his most experienced and maybe best team?
No, I mean, it'll be – I don't know. I mean, Seventh Woods hasn't played particularly great this year. Jermaine Couisnard has had an awful year. I mean, there's no other way to – we got on A.J. Lawson because we thought A.J. Lawson had a bad sophomore year, but he averaged 14 points. We just thought he'd take some massive step forward last year. And statistically speaking, the numbers for A.J. Lawson from his freshman to sophomore year were really the same. He was fine. We just had high expectations for him. Jermaine Couisnard is just, to put it simply, he's been awful this year, and maybe there's a reason behind it, maybe there's not. I don't know. That's where people probably know a little bit more than we do. But Jermaine Couisnard's not been bad, not been good at all this year, and that to me is maybe the biggest problem. Alonzo Frank certainly would have helped, but I don't point to him and say, man, if he was on this team, things would be a lot different. For whatever reason, the physical nature of South Carolina basketball under Frank Martin is not there. And then I look at Couisnard and what he's done this year, and it's not good. I'm just looking at Couisnard right now, not even in double figures, 3 rebounds. I mean, he shoots Kusnar's 29% from the field, 52% from the foul line, and 27% from three-point range. Now, I don't want to pin it all on him either. That's not what I mean to do. It's just you knew he had to be a big part of this team this year, and he's not. He's regressed
Also,
almost every category that I look at.
hasn't the best player on the opposite
Third.
team pretty much every single game just shredded Carolina? Have they shut down or even limited the best player on another team once this year?
Well, that was Frank's frustration after the game on Saturday, talking about career highs being put up against his team, and that had never happened before in
15.
his coaching career. And I think that's to your point, Patrick, about the experience coming back and seeing it from this year's group. Tonight's game pushed to tomorrow at Tennessee. That's up next for the Gamecocks. Hour 3 up next for us here on the early game.
Jones for three.
What's a good one out there? Jesse. Lacrosse, NASCAR, golf, anything else. Not basketball.
I was just watching the bumper cam from Joey Logano's con board when Keselowski went into him. People complaining, well, wonder why Fox never showed that footage. I mean,
You got a
big
legit
stories.
NASCAR question earlier that we didn't get to from Big Carrot Senior.
Yeah, I can't believe he watched that.
Oh,
Did
It was-
McDowell cause the crash or no?
It was Keselowski got into the back of Logano. It looked like when Keselowski he was in front of McDowell, and then it looked like he got a little bit loose, kind of when he was going down to block, and then he got into the back of Logano, because I was actually just watching that just now. So yeah, it was Logano and Keselowski.
Mm.
It was a fiery crash at the end. It was ugh. I'm already signed up, getting my tickets ready to go for the SRX racing experience. That's they're kind of revitalizing the old IROC series type cars with Ray Abraham and Tony Stewart, and they're going to run 6 or 8 race series in the summer, and they're going to be run on CBS. And the season finale is in Nashville, so got tickets yesterday to go to that. Kind of excited.
Nice. Good
'Cause it is
trip, Nashville.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Morning, Jason. Woo! The heater is earning its money today in the garage.
Uh-oh, a little chilly.
Yeah.
Time for another bar 3 workout. That gets you warm.
No. Yeah, everybody come out of that crash, okay?
I think so. Yeah,
It's amazing, man.
it truly is. Austin Cindric's car. It looked like it was a hatchback by the time he got through that. It was pretty ugly.
Brutal. Jesse wants to ride to Nashville, looks like.
Hey, and the ticket prices are pretty decent, like $30-$40, so pretty palatable for a race. But it's cool if you guys haven't read anything about it. It's a series where they're going to have, I think Bill Elliott's going to be in, and like Elio Castroneves, and who all? There's Paul Tracy. It's quite the collection of drivers that it's an invite-only kind of series. So a lot of different disciplines. I basically bought the tickets, made hotel reservations, and said, so I bought my birthday gift already, so
Nice.
you're all taken care of.
I've done the experience at Charlotte. Waddy is asking.
I have not yet. That's on my list. I bought it for everybody else.
What a gal.
I know.
And who is TJ Majors? Is that just blasphemy to ask?
What is DBC?
Getting a lot of questions. At least Jen's not. Sounds like she might be figuring it out too.
I should know the name. I'm way drawing a blank.
Good call, Carlton, on the Hans device.
Oh, safety. Oh, duh. Dale Jr. spotter.
If I would have known that. It says it's spotter for Logano.
Is that who he's spotting for now?
Spotter?
What an amazing conversation that would be, right? Hey, what do you do? I'm a spotter in NASCAR. I'm
Have
sorry.
you not heard of a spotter, Patrick? It's the guys, they're up on like the roof lines or up on stuff and they're keeping an eye on everything.
Yeah. Like what
Through their eyes.
like what Will Ferrell's ex's dad was doing in Talladega Nights.
Yeah, just like that. That's exactly, that is, yes,
Like
that
what?
is exactly right.
Grandpa Chip.
Exactly right.
It is fun to hear them kind of go around and, I've recognized voices from listening to them and, dial in the different radios and stuff like that. It's like, oh, Benish, okay. He's done for a couple people. And
How many people are talking to the driver during a race? 2? The crew chief and the spotter?
for the most part, yeah. But the spotters who they're hearing the most because they're like, the whole expression door bumper clear, that's where the car is in relation to you. So awesome.
So those guys have to be like the most bitter dudes, right? Surely they were drivers that just didn't make it.
I don't know. They've got to be very.
I'm wondering, like the career path. How does that happen? Are you just always that kid that could find stuff?
Yeah, there you go. He was the Where's Waldo champ.
Like I grew up with one of my buddies was always that guy. If we were looking for something, he seemed to always spot it. Maybe he should have gone that route.
But you for sure have to be very steadfast and be able to watch what's going on and just be very focused to talk because you got to keep your driver calm. I'd be like, dude, wait, no. I don't think I could do it.
I think you got to have a strong bladder too. How does that work?
I think so.
Don't they just pee in the suits?
Not the spotters.
The drivers do, but the spotters wear their own pea suits.
I would.
Go to the other side of the grandstand.
Well, where are they sitting? Are they like in the booth?
No, they're standing. They're usually up on a roof line. There's different areas where they're set up.
So are they spread out or around people? I mean, you could probably just go right there.
Yeah,
So
off the roof.
Jesse's saying that TJ Majors has a good NASCAR podcast.
It is. That's a good one.
Door bumper clear, huh?
I've listened to it a few times.
No clue. Never heard the phrase. Oh, there you go. Waddy's got the Carolina connection. Atta boy.
Ah, that's cool. Spotter Brent. Did I call him?
All right. Headed back on the air here.
Yep. All right, it's 2 breaks this hour. At the 8:10 bill, don't forget Corley.
Okay.
And then 8:40 zeros. Okay, that's right.
Gus Malzahn, now the new UCF coach. Gamecock basketball goes 0 for 3 on a homestand. And believe it or not, with this weather, college baseball season is almost upon us. Welcome into hour number 3. I'm sure you can feel free to focus on one of those things or another, like Jen and some of the live streamers having a bit of a NASCAR discussion here in the national break. We're up on YouTube, Facebook Live, on Twitter as well, on the station handle at 1075 The Game, where you can find the video stream of what's going down this morning. 803-404-6100 if you would like to weigh in on the text line, the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, or give us a call on the Love Chevy phone lines. Been discussing that comment that Gus Malzahn made about UCF being a top 20 job and where, in fact, they do fit in. We've come up with 16 kind of bulletproof top 16 jobs in college football. Outside of that, UCF was not in that list of 16. I think it gets real contentious real quick outside of those 16. Bill, you tried to put in a 17th name in North Carolina, and that's a good example, I think, of the tier that separates itself, that I think we could all accept as college football fans 16 names, and we'll go through those 16 names for you as we roll on this morning as well. But then outside of that, especially after what we just saw, I think, Bill, with what Coastal Carolina did last year and Louisiana Lafayette and the Liberty, a big surprise last year, obviously not a perennial top job in college football, but with what they did and where those programs are, it makes it for, I think, maybe the most interesting conversation that college football's ever had. The most parity in a lot of ways, and yet the college football playoff has continued to kind of lack that, unfortunately. And you were talking about maybe UCF joining a Big Five, a Power Five conference, or maybe there ends up being a sixth conference or whatever, and trying to kind of engineer a path to a national championship there with Gus Malzahn. I think, Patrick, your take on it is maybe where I'm coming at it from in the college football playoff eventually expanding and them getting in that way. So, Bill, overall, is Gus Malzahn going to be a success at Central Florida? Is he going to be the guy that's there? He's 55 years old, that's there for 10 more years and keeps them relevant for all those 10 years? Or do you feel like it might go the other way?
I don't know. There's something to be said about he's just been paid $22 million. That doesn't count whatever he made for his previous, about 8 years at Auburn. So you got to figure your career earnings is probably close to $50 million, maybe a little over, and he's getting, would you say, 2.2 now to be there. I don't want to say money isn't everything, but quality of life at this point at 55 years of age might be pretty enjoyable. You're living in Orlando, Florida. If you're winning football games, Patrick mentioned playing golf, maybe the grandkids are coming down and you're taking them to Disney World. I mean, it's a pretty cushy job, right? Like, do you need $4 million to, let's say, when Tennessee opens back up, to go back into the pressure cooker that is Tennessee and have to deal with everything that is Tennessee football?
Well, it depends how you look at it, Bill. The margin for error is not very big there at Central Florida. If you lose 3 games, the fan base is not going to be happy.
But you can get fired?
You're not going to get your contract renewed, I would bet, if you lose 3 games.
Hard to say. It's hard to say with that, because the athletic director that is taking over for Danny White is from Arkansas State and worked with Gus Malzahn, and so they're good buddies.
Right?
Well, he was only there for a year, but yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I think that it's a situation. There's a lot of variables that'll be at play over the next 4 or 5 years, and the big one is, does Gus Malzahn want to get back into SEC or ACC football? I mean, who's to say that Florida State doesn't, continue to bottom out, and that Mike Norvell gets 2 to 3 more years, and Florida State says, man, that Gus Malzahn be a good fit here. I mean, that would seem like a pretty easy move for him, right?
The question to me sounds like a dumb one, but does he want to win a national championship, or how badly does he want to win a national championship? Because that's kind of the one thing he's still got left to do, right?
Yeah.
And does he feel like he can truly win one, or does it feel like UCF can go undefeated 1 year and luck into a college football playoff berth and then just get smoked by Alabama, or does he want to use this to go 11 wins every year, 12 wins every year, and then parlay it into a job that's ready-made for a title run? Like, I don't know what it is a cushy job, and I'm sure he's content financially, but how desperate is he to go win a national championship and have that on his resume when it's all said and done?
I think that'll change. I think that answer right now is different than what it may be in 3 or 4 years. The way he was treated at Auburn, and if some of this stuff about Kevin Steele stabbing him in the back and the boosters, and just everything that we seem to think we know about the Auburn job, I think getting out of that toxic situation and everything that came with that, I think right now he's looking at it like, man, these Auburn, it's kind of like that question he was asked yesterday. You understand what kind of pressure cooker you're walking into? And he's like, oh, is it Auburn? He's probably looking at it this morning like, this is going to be pretty fun. I mean, I don't know what the weather is. I'm sure the weather average temperature in Auburn, Alabama, and Orlando, Florida isn't drastically different, I'm sure. But in terms of places to live, we would agree that living in Auburn, Alabama, and Orlando, Florida is a pretty big change, right? Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of a change there. I just think he probably for a few years he's going to enjoy it. Now, in 3 years, if he goes 11-1 or 10-2, and he's getting left out, and it's typical stuff with Central Florida. And where did Central Florida go to a bowl this year? Where did they go? Does anybody remember? Does anybody care?
It wasn't impressive. I was looking at Josh Heupel's list of accomplishments in bowl games and stuff for some related deal to this story, and I wasn't impressed with the bowl game. And it's always been tough for them when it comes to bowl affiliations, and that's part of being a non-Power 5 team. I mentioned those 16 jobs, and just to break them down by conference, we got 6 in the SEC, 3 in the Big Ten, and then 2 each in the other Power 5 conferences, ACC, Big 12, and Pac-12, and then added Notre Dame in there. If you would like to play along, if you're just joining us, or even if you just want to rehash them and get
wasn't that only 14?
Nope. Yeah. Let's try the math again. So we've got 3 conferences with 2. That's 6.
Oh, okay.
Right, and then one more
and
conference.
3 in the Big Ten. Okay.
Right, you got it. So we got it. I did do the math there. I actually wrote it down to make sure we had it correct. The Gamecocks clearly not in that top 16 jobs right now in the country, but we mentioned how it's not too far apart in the conversation, I don't think, from the Central Florida job at this point. And Bill, you mentioned going down there in 2013 and watching that ball game where Carolina was down 10-0 at the half, scored 28 unanswered, and ended up holding on for a 28-25 win behind a big day on the ground for Mike Davis. I think 3 touchdowns, 160-some yards, and where Dylan Thompson had to play most of that ball game. Connor Shaw, I think, said was hurt. And
he got hurt early.
It was Blake Bortles is the big-time quarterback for UCF, obviously went on to go to the AFC Championship there with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that was the height of his NFL career, and that was the height of the UCF program, I think, to that point until the undefeated season from a couple of years ago where they hung the national championship banner. It's all part of the program that Gus Malzahn is stepping into there and trying to figure out exactly where it fits in college football now, especially compared to the Gamecocks' recent opening and how things are moving forward. And as long as Orlando has a Waffle House, Gus is good, Jesse says. And I know that one has been mentioned on social media a bunch since this news came down over the weekend as well from the football standpoint. Unfortunately, the news from the NFL about Vincent Jackson being found in Florida, the former Chargers and Bucks receiver. Tough news to stomach over the weekend as well. Patrick, you said you were following a lot of Trevor Lawrence's pro day. I think that happened after our show on Friday. Urban Meyer was right there, and he was certainly in the news in the last several days, having hired that very controversial Iowa strength coach, and then that same guy immediately resigning after the blowback happened from that. So that and Trevor Lawrence's hand size had you plenty busy over the weekend, huh?
There was a lot, yeah. And in the draft world, there was a lot. I mean, Trevor Lawrence had probably as good of a pro day or whatever they're going to call that thing as you could expect. I don't think we're going to see anything else from him before he suits up in a Jaguars uniform because he's got that surgery in his non-throwing shoulder. But 10-inch hands, huge, 6'5" and 5'8", not too tall, but very tall. I think historically quarterbacks over 6'6" have not had success, so people were concerned that he might be taller than 6'6". That would be a problem. But it was a weird situation. Urban Meyer just not standing on the sideline like a scout should. He's just standing at midfield because he's clearly above all that and just standing next to Dabo Swinney the whole time. I don't think any other scouts showed up. I don't think they needed to. Everybody knows where Trevor Lawrence is going to go. But that was interesting. The strength coach, Urban Meyer, learning that you can't just do whatever you want in the NFL was very interesting. And then the other draft news was Todd McShay starting. Have you guys seen the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner?
I never saw it.
Yeah. McShay tried to start some Draft Day-esque rumor and noted that Zach Wilson was not a captain at BYU, and maybe that raises some red flags. And then everyone at BYU went crazy and responded. A million pictures of him wearing the captain's badge for the.
Nobody bothered to see if anybody. Nobody bothered to see if anybody came to his birthday?
Exactly. That is what draft Twitter kept doing. Kept saying, well, everybody went to his birthday party, though. Yeah, the whole BYU team came out in defense of Zach Wilson and just
all of a sudden there's videos of his birthday just being a wild celebration. Look, there's the whole offensive line. They liked him. They liked him.
That's what I love. This is one of the things I love about the draft, that McShay gets up, goes on ESPN in the morning and drops that, and then the whole draft world goes crazy. But, yeah, Trevor Lawrence going to go number one. It was already guaranteed, but he looks really good. Dropped some 70-yard dimes on the move.
Travis hits us up on the Facebook live stream. UCF will be average under Gus Malzahn until he's on the hot seat, and then they'll win 12 games. The best coach in football went on the hot seat. Well, except for this last year. I hear what you're saying, Travis, but it obviously didn't work out, even though Auburn did win a few games down the stretch. I'm fascinated to see how Gus Malzahn works out at Central Florida, because I think that job is unique in college football right now. What job would you compare to Central Florida? Cincinnati? But to me, Cincinnati has kind of a lot of things that don't prop it up like Central Florida does. Bill, you mentioned, I think, where it fits in the Florida landscape right now, and clearly with Florida State and Miami being down from where they've traditionally been, I think you have the advantage you can take advantage of that, or you have the opportunity to take care of that. Dan Mullen and Florida were pretty good on the field last year, but off the field, certainly a bit of a roller coaster where he's at with that program. And Central Florida has almost sailed through, I feel like, the last few seasons and just won a bunch of games. And it doesn't look like, I wouldn't assume that would dip at all with Gus Malzahn taking over the program. I would only assume it gets better.
Isn't Houston the closest thing to it? Just because we mentioned like Cincinnati, Memphis are in that same tier of mid-majors that are kind of right there. But Houston at least is huge city in a massively talented state, but there's a bunch of other schools that are vying for that in-state talent.
The difference there to me is history. They have a much better history, at least, of some really good quarterbacks, and Andre Ware in the Heisman Trophy. And we saw Cobb and Kevin Cobb going against the Gamecocks in the Liberty Bowl back in the day. Bill, what do you think? I think it's a pretty good comparison, though. Pretty good analogy, Patrick.
I think Houston and Central Florida are honestly the two schools that would be most in line, because of, you got to remember, it's not always, if we were to talk realignment or schools being able to jump into a conference, it's not always what you're doing on the field. It's kind of what you're bringing financially to the table. The Orlando television market, the Houston television market would be pretty big, as opposed to BYU or Boise State. Maybe, I guess, I don't know what Spokane is for television markets, but I'm going to assume
Houston's the top, what?
Exactly.
10? Not 5, but definitely top 10.
So I think if you're talking about, and what you just pointed out is, or Tim, Houston's been in big conference football before, back in the 80s, but they've been in big conference football before. So there's a little bit there. Obviously, they've had some success over the last few years. Tom Herman, even to a lesser extent, Dana Holgerson. Central Florida, certainly, we remember, Tim, I think a lot of Gamecock fans, if you're my age, if you're 38, you really kind of remember the rise of Central Florida, because remember Central Florida being a fledgling program coming in to Williams-Brice in 1996, I think, and South Carolina winning a close one. I believe that was Dante Culpepper who came in here, or he came in a year or two later for a season opener. Like, we saw Because South Carolina played Central Florida there 2 or 3 times in the late 90s when they were really getting that program going. And I remember Dante Culpepper coming to Williams-Brice Stadium and putting on a show. And again, I think that was the 33-31 game in, I want to say 96 or 97. So South Carolina fans have gotten a chance to see Central Florida a good bit. That was Steve Spurrier's first game. So there's been a lot there. There's been kind of a little bit of a history with the Gamecocks and the Knights.
Oh, I got the entire series history pulled up. 5 games. South Carolina's won all of them. 96 was the first one. That was a bit of a whipping. I think that was with Culpepper playing 33-14, and maybe he came back and they in that 97 game, the next one, that's the 33-31 game you're talking about, Bill. And then one kind of random one in 05. That's when George O'Leary was still there, I believe.
That was the Spurrier opener. That was Steve Spurrier opened the season on Thursday night. That was 24-15. They hit Noah Whiteside on the second play of the game, I think, and everybody got all fired up for Spurrier. Then you had the 2012 game, I believe, down in Orlando, 13 game, and then you had the ugly, nasty Central Florida was awful. South Carolina was awful. Spurrier probably tried to retire at halftime. Game in 15 when Lorenzo Nunez got his start.
And that was a 17-point win for the Gamecocks, but Central Florida, I think, went winless that season.
Yes.
If I remember correctly. And I guess that's the one, that's certainly the exception for what that program has been, kind of popping up out of nowhere, and now has a national brand coach, at least, where he can keep that program will be interesting to keep tabs on. As well as our conversation about Gamecock basketball this morning after the 7-point loss to Ole Miss, made it 0-for-3 in a 3-game homestand. Tonight's game, if you have not heard it, even if you have, it bears repeating for sure. Tonight's game at Tennessee moved to tomorrow. Was going to be an 8:30 tip time, I believe, tonight, and now it's going to be a 9 o'clock tip tomorrow. I'm going to double check and make sure that that's right, but I know it is tomorrow. It is late. Just want to make sure we have the times correct for you on that one. And that is correct. 9 o'clock tip time tomorrow for the Gamecocks at Tennessee, because of just what this season has been, getting another adjustment here for the Gamecocks, and going to be a tough task for sure tomorrow night at Tennessee. And maybe we'll get back into that discussion. It's 31 in a row now for the USC women after a 7-point win against LSU yesterday. 803-404-6100, the numbers into our show. You can call or text. Hit us up on the live stream on Twitter at 1075 The Game. That live video rolling as well. You're listening to the early game here. It's 1075 The Game.
This is South Carolina head women's basketball coach Dawn Staley, and you're listening to the home of the Gamecock, WMKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, 1075 The Game.
That looks like the sun out there that I'm seeing pop up across Lake Murray. That means that maybe, just maybe, we're turning the page, heading in the direction of warmer days, better days where you can get outside and enjoy your backyard. And if you've got a pool, you can enjoy your pool. But you better have it clean and ready to use. If it's not maintained properly, it's disgusting. You have neighbors over, you have friends over for a pool party, you be a little embarrassed of it. You need to let the experts take care of your pool, and you need to start now. Proper pool maintenance is a year-round thing. It's just not during the summer. And with Corley Pool Solutions, they will make sure that on the first day you can jump in that pool, it's going to look beautiful, and it is going to be ready to use. Give them a phone call this morning, 803-445-8109. Over 20 years of experience in the business. They offer flat rate pricing. They can actually clean your pool for less than what it costs to go to the store yourself, spend that time driving to the store, buying the chemicals, trying to measure out how much you got to put in the pool, if you're getting the right pHs, if you're handling it the right way. They can do it. That's why you let experts handle it, so that when you've had a long day or you're ready to enjoy your weekend, your home pool is ready to be used. 803-445-8109, whether it's testing of chemicals, adding proper chemicals for water balancing, the vacuum and netting, skimmer cleaning, they cover it all. Again, 20 years of experience in the business. Tracy Corley and his team are the experts you need to maintain your pool year-round. 803-445-8109. That's Corley Pool Solutions.
Clear.
I didn't even know Dante Culpepper went to UCF.
Yeah. Learn something new every day now, don't you?
No, they've had a very impressive. Do they have any other good quarterbacks that went there? Other than the last, because they've had a very impressive run in the last 10 years.
Well, yeah, you had Bortles.
Yeah, Bortles, Mackenzie Milton, now Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think, where's Mackenzie Milton going now? Florida State. Yikes. Brandon Wimbush was there. I don't know if he's still there, but he was there.
He did go there. He got beat out. He got beat out by. He got beat out by Milton.
By Gabriel. Yeah.
By Gabriel?
Yeah, by Dylan Gabriel. Because he. Does Watson end up in Miami? Travis. Probably. I don't know. The free agency quarterback thing has been so weird because it was supposed to be the most wild year, and there's a million quarterbacks talked about being traded. Derek Carr, Carson Wentz, Deshaun Watson, a million things, and there's only been one quarterback move so far. The only thing that's happened is Matt Stafford and Jared Goff, so I really have no idea. Brandon Marshall went to UCF.
Yeah, Brandon Marshall.
From Pittsburgh, PA to UCF. Nice.
It was a neat little trip. I'd go back.
We played a lacrosse game there in 2015. The Knights Pub had a $5 cover, and you could drink free for 2 hours. It was crazy.
Given that I don't think you went there as a student pulling for the team, and that you were an athlete apparently going to Knights Pub, probably you didn't win the match, did you?
No, we did. We won every game that weekend. Yeah. We played Florida State. Yeah, we beat Florida. Florida State was top 10 in the country when we played them the next day, and we beat them.
Oh, look at you guys.
Nice. So all of you went to a school that had a bar on campus or right close, right?
Yeah.
We had to smuggle. Nothing nearby. We're in the middle of a neighborhood.
I didn't my freshman year. There was not a bar close to Wagner.
Okay. Yeah, it makes it a little different. Like I said, my care packages that I used to get, girls would be like, "Oh man, I got cookies, I got stuff." It's like, "Oh, I gotta fit the stops." Care packages were great.
Surprised you didn't start running moonshine.
I should have, but I don't know. Do you familiar with the old bolsters in a dorm room where the bed kind of pushes in, and then the back of the cushion, you lift it up and it's storage? Yeah, stock.
Oh boy. No, I didn't go to. I went out to the Kilo Charlie gun range last Tuesday, and they were closed. So I did not get the Black Rifle coffee. It's on the list.
Interesting.
Like
Excellent, Travis.
and Waddy, both they're all with you.
Super Stoker, huh?
You got to be
Nope.
creative when you're,
Nobody thought it was weird that they had super soakers.
I mean,
Kids being kids.
crazy kids in a dorm room.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I'll stop there. Yeah, okay, so we're heading back. And you're up.
On the live stream video, you can get the stories of Jen Jensen's college exploits. and try to do some good on the radio. Hosting a blood drive in honor of National Heart Month on Wednesday, 1 week from this Wednesday, the 24th. It's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., 2751 Bull Street in downtown Columbia. Pre-registration, rapid pass preferred. Walk-ins are welcome. More information on our website, 1075thegame.com. Gamecock basketball, not tonight. Ended up being tomorrow night, or the SEC has pushed it to tomorrow night at Tennessee. Going to be a really tough test. Bill, we didn't talk about the Ole Miss matchup so much, or very much, coming off of back-to-back losses, I think because there just wasn't much to talk about from a positive perspective for Frank Martin and company, and knowing what Ole Miss has been, relatively average program this year, not a necessarily good matchup for the Gamecocks, and it turned out that way in the 81-74 win for Ole Miss over the weekend. And it almost seems like you just play out the streak here when you're the Gamecock men. Is that the feel that you have as well?
Well, you look at what Mississippi's done the last several weeks. They're obviously coming into the South Carolina game. They're now on a 4-game win streak, but they had posted not back-to-back. There was a sandwich game in there against somebody, but they beat Tennessee and Missouri. They had 2 top 12 victories coming into that game. Mississippi seems to have taken it up a notch. You know, we talk about South Carolina kind of going the other direction. Looked like Mississippi was trending in the right direction here. Devontae Shuler playing better. They beat Auburn was the sandwich game, and Shuler had 26. So they're playing. They've been playing good basketball. It's just you don't know what you're going to get from South Carolina. You have no clue what you're going to get. I mean, I guess you're starting to get a better feel, but it's kind of like the Alabama game. Really good opponent. South Carolina plays them to within a basket there at the very end of the game. It wouldn't be a complete shock, right? You know, if South Carolina tomorrow night against Tennessee is in position to win that game in the final 30 seconds, down a point, up a point, wouldn't be a shock if they're down 10 or 12 at the very end of the game. When we talk matchups, it's hard for me to figure out what this team may or may not do because I've seen them be competitive. I've seen them also make a lot of questionable decisions. Beginning of the game, middle of the game, end of the game, that ends up costing them a chance at a victory.
I think that's fair. I mentioned in the middle, Ole Miss came into Columbia Life Arena 6-6 in conference play, talking about average, mediocre deal. 12-8 overall now is where they sit, 7-6 overall in the SEC, and it is a mess. You look at these standings, it's Alabama, and then it gets messy real quick with 3 teams, LSU, Arkansas, and Florida, with 4 losses in conference play. Florida has a couple of less wins than LSU and Arkansas, so they're percentage points behind in the standings there, the top 4. And then it's Tennessee and Missouri with 5 conference losses, Tennessee at 7-5 and Mizzou at 6-5. Then you got Ole Miss as the only other team above 500 in conference play, sitting at 7-6. Kentucky sitting at 6-13 overall and 5-7 in conference play. It's probably the largest head scratcher if you're talking about zooming out for the SEC this season. But it's been a really interesting year in a lot of different ways in college basketball. Certainly the most unique one I saw over the weekend, right before the final round of Pebble Beach switched over on CBS. It was Michigan and Wisconsin, the college basketball game, and I guess Michigan's had some COVID issues, a 23-day delay, and they come back and win at Wisconsin. An impressive season for Juwan Howard continues, as they're one of the best teams in the country for sure. But just an example of kind of the ebbs and flows of college basketball. Unfortunately, it's going in the wrong direction right now for Gamecock men's basketball. The USC women, a 7-point winner over the weekend on Sunday against LSU to make it 31 in a row. And their school record, SEC win streak continues as Carolina will continue on in SEC play. They are also at Tennessee this week on Thursday night, set for a 7 o'clock game against the Lady Vols. The night after the Gamecock men will be in action there. So that's the story from a basketball perspective. Bill, I think so many Gamecock fans are looking forward to this week because of what is set to happen Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock and Gamecock baseball gets underway. We've seen this environment a similar type environment, I feel like, for the last couple of years, where the men's basketball team, there had been some hope and excitement built up, and a anticipated run in an NCAA tournament or an anticipated berth just didn't happen, and that kind of leads to maybe even more expectation for the Gamecock baseball program. That's where I feel like things are for Mark Kingston and company as they get ready to start this season in the top 20, and a lot of preseason polls right around 17 or 18. A lot of uncertainty for most college baseball programs, having only been able to play like the first quarter of the season last year, and some unproven names that will be counted on in some big moments for the baseball program for the Gamecocks and all around the country. How do you see it?
I don't follow baseball like nationally close enough to know what's coming back and what's not, because I look at the South Carolina team and I think that they should be pretty good, right? You kept a lot of the guys that were part of a 12 and 14 last year. You stacked on top of them a pretty good recruiting class. But Tim, I'm looking at the D1 baseball poll. There's 7 teams in front of South Carolina. South Carolina is, 18? There are 7 teams in the SEC in front of them. Florida, Vanderbilt, Mississippi, Mississippi State, Arkansas. 5 of the top 10 are from the SEC. Then you've got LSU, 6 in front of them. South Carolina 7th, and then sitting right behind South Carolina is Tennessee. So Auburn also in there at 23. The SEC is very good. The SEC is a loaded league. It is an absolutely loaded league. And now you talk about that non-conference schedule. You got Clemson in there, and you got number 9 Texas in there. I mean, I'm thrilled for it because wins and losses don't affect my paycheck on that. I'm pulling for the best for Mark Kingston, but my goodness, what a schedule for this team. And you feel like if they can't stay healthy, or if something goes sideways on this baseball team, you're going to have a lot of angry people, just like we're seeing with basketball, come about mid-April. And it's just hard for me to grasp what this baseball team is, because they go play great competition week in, week out. I think I heard you the other day. I was coming back and from dropping the kids off, and you were talking about Mercer. I think it's Mercer they play in week 2, who's won 35, who had won 35 games the 2 years prior. So it's a very difficult schedule.
I think it's even longer than that. I was stealing that stat from the great John Whittle at thebigspur.com, who is all over Gamecock baseball as always, and I think for very good reason, pretty high on what the Gamecocks have as they get ready to start the baseball season this Friday. You mentioned the sun coming out on Lake Murray. It was a rough weekend of weather, and I feel like we have been pretty fortunate around here the last several winters to not have much of one. Maybe we were spoiled, and that's why I was really grizzled over this past weekend. Maybe it's because I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they need to get out, and otherwise they'll drive me crazy around the house, especially with a baby as well. But this is the time of year that I've always thought is, along with football season, the 2 best times of the year, when the weather will start to turn here in at least a couple of weeks and get warmer, and you get longer days, and you get baseball as well in that mix. It's always a reminder that the winter around here, not that fun. It gets darker, but you don't have to put up with it very long. And I feel like we're right on the precipice of that, Bill. And a good Gamecock baseball season. You mentioned if it doesn't turn out well. Well, what if it does? What if Carolina can win a bunch of close games, or compete well with this schedule? You set yourself up. It's almost the exact opposite of what we see for Carolina basketball, where some non-conference schedules, there's just not much room for a lot of gains from an RPI perspective, or whatever you want to call it now, as opposed to what this baseball team is. They are going to play some of the best competition in the country. That schedule is going to be right up there as far as strength of schedule, a lot like the football one typically is. And you win your share of games, you're going to be in a place to play at home all the way to Omaha, like this program had gotten used to for so many years.
Well, you're going to get that, and that's always been Ray Tanner or Chad Holbrook's like motto when it came to scheduling games was that, hey, we don't need to go out and play anybody in the non-conference portion. We already played Clemson, which is a national matchup, and then you got the SEC play. Certainly, we are seeing. I think the good thing is I came downstairs this morning, flipped on the television. Obviously, the stock markets were closed yesterday. It was a financial holiday. But the first thing they were talking about right as I came down was that virus numbers are dropping and that things are starting to look better as the vaccine's getting out there. I do think you're going to get more hope for a full baseball season and something that we're used to. We talked about the NCAA is going to do the basketball tournament's going to do the strange bubble thing in Indianapolis for the men and San Antonio for the women. There seems to be a lot of debate about conference tournaments and how to do those. But I think you're right. If things are going well for South Carolina as we move into the spring and we move into much warmer weather, maybe you get that chance to host a regional and get people that sense of normalcy that's been missing for a while, and you start to see the normalcy of sports and everything coming along. And if South Carolina's playing well, let's be honest, if they're playing well, that also helps South Carolina fans get back to a feeling of normal life in baseball as well, because that's what you've kind of become accustomed to seeing for the majority of the last 25 years.
Right around 2,000 is what the attendance limitations are going to be over at Founders Park, I believe, as Carolina gets the season going. Patrick, I know you are all into the NFL offseason and the whole thing. Any love for college baseball this time of year leading us into the spring and into your Major League Baseball fandom of the Washington Nationals and all that?
I get really pumped for like the first week of baseball. And then the playoffs.
Hold on. Let's list right now 1 through 4 draft day information stuff. Where is it on your list?
May I have the other 3 choices? And then I'll rank them for you.
Saturday's lacrosse matchups.
Okay. Okay.
College basketball in general.
Baseball. Number 1, college lacrosse on Saturday. Number 2, draft stuff. Number 3, basketball. Number 4, baseball.
No.
Is a unique.
I mean, I don't know why anybody would be surprised or upset to hear that. I played college lacrosse. It's my favorite sport. So, like, obviously, that's going to be what I'm going to watch the most.
That's why he was.
I love it. It's my favorite thing. So,
Patrick was
sorry
taking
that
a
offends
stroll
people.
off air on the live stream. Patrick was taking a stroll down memory lane, going back to was it back-to-back upsets or just one? Florida State was the only top 10 team y'all played. But Central Florida was that?
Oh, UCF weekend? No, we played UCF, Florida State, and Florida that weekend. And I'm pretty sure we went 3-0.
3-0. Florida State was a top 10
I think
team.
so, yeah. Yeah, Florida State was good. We beat them. Yeah, we beat a top 10 Florida State team.
What? Weren't you guys on the cover of Lacrosse Illustrated that week?
Inside lacrosse? No, because that was club.
No!
Corrected. They're very subtle.
There is Inside Lacrosse? Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, Inside Lacrosse is a big website. That's
the number 1 publication for all lacrosse information, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys hear the big lacrosse news over the weekend? Was Chris Hogan has decided to hang up his football helmet, and he's going to try and join the Premier Lacrosse League and go play pro lacrosse.
Now, is he hanging up his helmet, or he's just not going to make a team?
I
think he could probably get like a minimum offer. I mean, he could definitely make more in football than lacrosse, but
Now, to me, the website should be All Across America.
Ooh,
wow.
That's a lot of L's.
Wow.
How many L's
I
do
see
you
what
get?
you did there, Mom.
That,
Way to go, Mom.
Would that be 3 L's? A-L-L-L?
Wow.
Just helps me out there. Yeah.
That
The
one
spelling
kills
of that
the
website.
second grade class, doesn't it? That's good.
Big Phil's
That
jealous
was
that his
good.
dad, he
That's
was being
the-
challenged on the show. 803-404-6100. Jen for the win, Trey says on the live stream there, as he asks, what will it take to get Patrick to Darlington?
for me to be back in college. I went to Darlington in college, and it was a blast.
How about that?
Oh.
All right. If you'd like to get a final thought, now's your chance to do it. Dramatic conclusion of our first show of the week coming up next here. It's the early game on 107.5.
Quiz.
Nasty outside this weekend for sure from the weather perspective. Hopefully your house has held up a little bit better than mine when it comes to how it looks on the inside. kids and the messes all the time. I need professional help around my house. I recommend, if you need some at your house as well, you get the professionals at Zero Res Carpet and Area Cleaning out to your house. They've done a great job several times at my house cleaning both my carpets, my area rug, and then they help freshen up the tile in both the bathroom and kitchen at my house. Impressed my wife with the results, and really we had nothing to worry about in the process with Zero Res because they have a patented powered water system. That means there's no harsh chemicals involved in their process. That's important to us with our kids around the house. And if you're worried, or if you need another reason to get Zero Res out there, it means there's no leftover soapy residue. And that's why my carpets have stayed cleaner longer. Yours can at your home if you're in charge of a business. The commercial cleaning division at Zero Res, working day and night, businesses all over the Midlands, making sure they're clean and sanitized and following all the CDC guidelines in the process. And right now they've got a great deal for you. 3 rooms of carpet clean, only $109 when you mention me, Tim Hill, with Zero Res. Check them out on the internet today at ZeroResColumbia.com, where you can book online or give them a call, 803-262-4020. It's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
I'm seeing sun right now.
It's kind of out. It's kind of out.
What's he yelling about?
The sun is out.
Oh, Tim and Chapin's all on the lacrosse train.
I want to grill burgers tonight with the kids.
It's really taking off in popularity, Tim says.
Yes. I've never met anyone that played lacrosse and said, wow, this isn't awesome. Combines all the best things from all the best sports.
Well, I've never met anybody that played wall ball and didn't think it was awesome. Doesn't make it a spectator sport, though.
I mean, I've met a lot of people that have played baseball and said, wow, this is really boring.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying, I like to play pickleball. Pickleball's fun. I never met anybody that said a bad word about pickleball.
Pickleball is not that fun.
What? How?
I haven't played. I would like to, though.
Slightly more fun than tennis.
Oh, Tim and Chapin is coming to your defense on the text line.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Gotcha.
I don't need to defend myself. Lacrosse, people are going to hate on it, but, I get bored of baseball. And when people say that or make fun of lacrosse and then start talking about baseball, I mean, I roll my eyes too, so.
They're both good.
Yeah, I mean, baseball's fun. I have a hard time watching.
Which is fun.
Yeah. I have a hard time sitting in front of my TV and watching 4 hours of baseball.
Is that where we are as a country, Jesse? You can't hit people in wall ball anymore? If you can't hit people, how do you play the game?
If there's one appointment lacrosse game this year, it's going to be North Carolina and Duke on April 1st.
Who at North Carolina Duke lacrosse on April 1st?
Yeah, they're the
That
best two
sounds
teams.
like a live stream opportunity if I've heard one.
Well, they're just, because the season got canceled, so many people came back. The teams this year are just so good. They're outrageously good. And the Ivy League had 4 of the top 6 teams in the country last year. And Ivy Leagues are not playing again this year, so a ton of the best players in the country just went and split up amongst 5 or 10 teams.
Oh. Tells me all I need to know right now.
Yeah.
What?
I agree with Alan. Hockey. I was in on hockey last night.
I like hockey a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a Islanders whipped up on the Sabres last night. That's what I was watching.
Oh, Big Carrot Senior sticking up for little Big Carrot.
Yeah. Well, he never played either, but he's all legit.
Do you need power?
That's the thing. A lot of parents
Power.
love the sport even though they never played it now.
That
And he
is
says high
true.
level, meaning not high school. You would not be entertained by a South Carolina high school lacrosse game.
I would, that's definitely true. And I'll admit, here's the thing. Papa Carrot. I don't know the rules. And I've gotten into hockey but I'm about 80% on the rules. Lacrosse, I just don't get it all. And that's why I'd be like, well, you'd punch me halfway through the match for asking too many questions.
Well, it wouldn't look that weird. I mean, the objective is the same. I mean, it's just hockey. It's the same as hockey, pretty much. You'd see the guys passing it around and trying to score, and then you'd see them score, and you'd be like, okay, that's a goal. You just wouldn't know. Sometimes if there's a penalty or something like that, you wouldn't necessarily know what was being called.
Well,
but you can get the concept of pass the ball and try to score.
Is there timeout?
Yeah, there's timeouts.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, you get a couple of lacrosse moms that are seasoned veterans, you'll learn real fast.
Yeah. The worst sport for that is field hockey because there are so many rules in field hockey. And I used to go to my sister's field hockey games, and they blow the whistle every 10 seconds.
And what's the difference between field hockey and lacrosse?
Well, that's
field
hockey.
Girls play field hockey only.
I still think it's wrong that girls lacrosse is so different and so more protected than guys.
Yeah. Girls lacrosse is a lot more confusing than guys because, again, they have to stop it all the time for things that I don't understand.
Yeah, ridiculous. That toy dog is going crazy this morning. I'm not sure if there's ghosts that are spurring this thing on, but it is just...
Why don't you just put the toy dog down, Jen? Put it down.
I guess maybe I need to see if there's... Take the battery out. That would help.
There are ways. What? See, now your dad is men's field hockey is an Olympic sport. Come on.
Yeah, and the United States. The United States doesn't play it.
We don't participate?
No.
But you told me the main difference between field hockey and lacrosse is that girls play field hockey, but they have girls lacrosse too, and they have men's field hockey.
They don't have men's field hockey. Not in America. I'm only talking about America.
We're coming back in. I hate to stop this.
They don't have lacrosse in other countries except here in Canada.
Yeah, our country, our sport. It's our sport. Take that, UK.
It's the oldest North American sport.
All right, Gezra.
Since we're talking about baseball starting on Friday, the weather turning and the whole thing, it plays right into what's going to go down on Friday, March 12th. Would love to have you out at our spring golf tournament at the Windermere Club, teeing it up at 10 a.m. that day for a 4-person captain's choice golf tournament. You can sign up as a team or as an individual. Just give Windermere a call at 803-786-7888. Going to introduce the Heckle Hole. You'll have breakfast and lunch included out there. Certainly want to thank our sponsor, Integrated Media. It's still your home, just smarter. IntegratedMediaInc.com. And again, give Windermere a call if you want to sign up for the spring golf tournament, March 12th. Mark the calendar, 786-7888. Again, the number where you can call to get in on that golf tournament. We're talking all about lacrosse, another spring sport. Trey says the fastest sport on 2 feet. I'm just confused about the difference between lacrosse and field hockey and the whole thing. And apparently just lacrosse in our country and field hockey everywhere else. Is that what you're saying, Patrick?
It's a men's sport overseas, but it's a women's sport in America, yes.
So why hasn't lacrosse grown overseas? That's my question.
I mean, it has slightly, but its roots come from Native Americans, and its roots are in North America. There's world games that have, I think, 40-something countries, but it's not like you're going to go to a high school in England and see them playing lacrosse. There's probably kids travel for hours to go to lacrosse practice and make like one lacrosse team. So it's mostly Canada and America. They dominate the sport.
Tim over in Chapin says he's in high schools around there, and then this thing is catching on like wildfire on the high school level, would rank it in popularity amongst the other big sports, he says. Those are bold words for sure.
There's always like a third biggest sport, and in Maryland, it's definitely lacrosse. It's football, basketball, then lacrosse. Here it's probably football, basketball, baseball. A lot of places it's soccer, but yeah, I mean, lacrosse is the fastest growing sport in America.
Patrick Perrett, ladies and gentlemen. You can
45.
Please repost on Twitter @ Patrick Perrett that shot you guys had on Inside Lacrosse and that 3-0 epic 3-0 win streak against the Florida teams back in the day.
It wasn't that epic. It was club ball.
30.
It's amateur hour.
Just messing with Patrick. Had a good time messing with you, Bill. You had a good time on this Tuesday. I see you smiling over there.
Yeah, it was good to be back.
He is
More
cute.
black coffee to continue on. It's good.
I'm looking forward to Patrick's Lent sacrifice updates. That's a heck of a
I'm
goal.
feasting. I'm feasting today.
Watch out, Fat Tuesday.
Happy Mardi Gras.
Happy Mardi Gras, yeah.
All right, guys. What you going with, Patrick? You got the pancakes? Is that what you got to do on Fat Tuesday? What you got?
I don't know what my send-off meal is going to be. I drive by Taco Bell and Arby's on the way, and those are usually the two that I like the best. And there's a McDonald's there, but I'm not making McDonald's the last fast food meal.
So
He
you
would
get
stay with you.
no fast food.
Did you get a
What else?
Soft drinks?
No chocolate.
And no soft drink?
Yeah, that won't be hard. I don't really drink soda anyway. But it's the chocolate and the fast food that are going to be difficult.
No chocolate, no fast food. Wow,
Yeah.
strong.
I figured that out today.
It's okay. I'll sit here and snack on some Reese's cups every morning for you to help you out.
I'll be all right. When I'm drinking coffee, I don't need anything else.
I hear you.
That's just completely eliminates the appetite.
Oh, it's a good South Carolina text there to end the show for you, Patrick. It's because all the Yankees moving down here, lacrosse.
Yeah.
Could
Yeah.
be.
I mean, hey, I coached a lot of kids that were not Yankees.
See, he's infiltrating the South, clearly.
Slowly taking over.
All right, you guys stay warm. I'm going to...
Yeah,
We're good.
I'm supposed to come out here shortly.
It's 50. It's supposed to be 53. That's not cold.
Beautiful. Yeah, I know. It could be a lot worse.
Oh man, right? I'm good.
We're in
with
good
that.
shape.
Yeah.
All right, hit me up if you guys need anything. Well, in the live stream, thanks for listening, everybody.
All right.
Thanks, lacrosse sucks. Attaboy, Jason. Final word for you.
This mailer doesn't care.